save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Guam Election Commission has decided to seek legal advice on how to deal with a complaint filed last week by former administration communications director Troy Torres. The complaint was discussed at last night's GEC meeting. Torres has alleged the GEC board member and the Lieutenant Governor's Deputy Chief of Staff, Jadine Tuncap, delivered a message from Governor Calvo to a well-known supporter of Senator Dennis Rodriguez. The message was, vote for the tax hike bill or I won't sign the teacher's contract for your running mate Dave Cruz. Tuncap, who is also the vice chair of the Election Commission, has declined to comment on the allegation. Senator Rodriguez has confirmed that he was pressured to vote for the tax increase, but he did not. The administration has refuted the allegation and pointed out that the Cruz contract was signed by the governor before the vote on the tax bill took place. GEC legal counsel Vince Camacho telling the commissioners last night that election law provides no clear guidance on how to investigate one of its own members. Camacho will research the complaint and provide legal guidance at the next meeting set for May 25th. The public auditor reports that the Guam Department of Revenue and Taxation failed to collect $40.2 million in property taxes between 2012 and 2016, a loss of $8.5 million every year. The results are detailed in the official audit report released overnight. Copies of the draft report were leaked to the media and others earlier this week. The auditors call it unrealized revenue. They blame Rev-N-Tax for its failure to collect delinquent property taxes, unassessed and or unbilled John Doe properties in cases where the owner is unknown, so Rev-N-Tax didn't know where to send the bill, unassessed and unbilled CLTC leased properties, untaxed condominium units, and questionable declines in taxable values of hotel properties. We'll have more news after this.
My mom is really great. She's as sweet as she can be. When I need some help, I know she's always there for me. My mom loves me all the time, even when I'm naughty. Thank you for all you do. Hugwai Sahau, Mommy.
For the entire month of May, stop by FHP Vision Center for 25% off sunglasses and 30% off lenses with ophthalmic frames. Receive an entry form to win a Coach Clutch pouch when you buy any Coach eyewear. Conditions apply. Happy Mother's Day, Guahan, from your friends at FHP.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The Guam Economic Development Authority is seeking legislative support to borrow some money and buy a defunct retail building that's sitting on land already owned by GovGuam. GIDA has made an offer to buy the former Hakubutan building near the ITC intersection in Tamuning for $4.8 million. The building used to be a duty-free store but was later converted into office space and a seafood restaurant. Although the price is lower than the $6 million the seller is asking for, GIDA's offer would still amount to a financial lifeline for the building's owner, SH Enterprises. SH Enterprises has notified GIDA that it's suffering financial hardships because of late payments from GovGuam for food vendor services. As a result, the company has had trouble making payments on the ground lease to GovGuam for the property their building sits on. Governor Eddie Calvo is among 7 Republican governors who have signed a letter supporting the nomination of President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. The letter praises Trump for his unprecedented victory for global peace and security in his negotiations with North Korea and hails the president for his successful policy of security through strength. In addition to Calvo, the letter was signed by the governors of Alabama, Kansas, Mississippi, Maine, West Virginia, and South Carolina. President Trump is expected to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Singapore in June. The North Korean regime yesterday, however, threatened to cancel the Trump-Kim summit, saying it won't be pushed into abandoning its nuclear weapons program. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with weather.
It says here mostly cloudy skies today with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Winds east 5 to 15 miles an hour. Expected daytime highs to about 87 degrees and overnight lows should be about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:40. Sunrise this morning was about 5:54. Should be coming up a little bit earlier tomorrow morning. And let me see if I can get this gizmo up on the screen so Michael Knight can tell you why we're going to have the weather that I just reported.
Yeah, as you can see, we're kind of in the lower center of that box under the timestamp, and there's a lot of swirly stuff going on around us. We actually have a pretty good line of showers passing by that you can't really see it as well on here as you can on radar. But that's just the way it's going to be this morning. Lots of scattered showers. This is where I'd like to have a camera, because then I could put my radar up there. See,
right.
we got a lot of stuff out there. So this trough in the area of low pressure down to our south, the trough off to our east, all of this is going to pull up and through over the next 3 or 4 days. Plenty rain coming.
Plenty rain in the forecast.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was kind of hoping for some sunny skies over the weekend. Well, maybe we'll have pockets of sunniness in there. So barbecue on the inside, I think, is the rule here. 6:13 in the morning. News and weather together here on The Point, brought to you by Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
You better believe it. Portions of the program also brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving Guam favorites to families for over 40 years. King's Restaurant's always open, always local.
From September 17 to September 19, 2018, the Archdiocese of Agana will be conducting settlement conferences with victims of clergy abuse. If you have a claim and want to meaningfully participate in the September settlement conferences, call Hope and Healing Guam at 1-888-649-5288 before August 1st, 2018. All conversations with Hope and Healing Guam are confidential. If you have filed a lawsuit against the Archdiocese, you are already included in this settlement process.
Interesting. Security title, making sure you actually own the property you think you just bought, responsible for portions of The Ray Gibson Show.
Morico Equipment on EPOW Road is expanding. Morico now requires a dynamic individual with proven sales skills to join their heavy equipment parts sales team to do outside parts sales to new and existing customer accounts. A commission package, Morico vehicle, phone, and laptop are on offer. While sales experience is preferred, applicants must be highly self-motivated with excellent communication and time management skills and able to use Microsoft Word and Excel. Apply on MoricoEquipment.com. Morico Equipment LLC is now an employee-owned company.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
So how do you suppose the people from Department of Labor and Stats and Plans were feeling yesterday after watching the grilling of Marie Benito and the Department of Revenue and Taxation?
Boy, that was rough.
You think maybe they were going, can we reschedule hours? Check, please. Waiter, could you bring the check? We're done here for the day. We're going to come back when the people up there are in a better mood, if you will. We'll play some of that for you in just a little bit. Hey, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. This is the Ray Gibson Show on The Point 93.3. My name is Ray. Kevin Kerrigan with the delivery of all of the big news from the Guam Daily Post. And a reminder, there is a great new app that you need for your phone. You got to get this app for the phone. It's totally groovy. And you wake up in the morning and everything that you need to know is right there. It's like having the paper in front of you, except it's smaller and it fits in your hand while you're in the bathroom. And then we've got Michael Knight, who will answer the phone and push the buttons when you call. The number here is 888-8255. Again, that is 888-8255. A fantastic fantastic way to get a hold of us for whatever it is that you think you might want to talk about. Now, I will often begin the program with a little bit of here's who's on and who's playing with the Gizmo on Facebook Live, and I will to see Chef Eddie's there, and Felix and Jerry Roberts is on early. Lynn's got the thing going. Mana Silva and Dave Duenas. Dave just really super excited about. I think one of the things he's going to find in the front page of the PDN this morning. We talked about this yesterday. He sent me a note that told me that Evelyn is back at the hot dog stand. It's actually in the front page of one of the newspapers today. Longtime entrepreneur Evelyn Ungakta prepares a hot dog for Bill Guerrero, a returning customer for about 30 years at her family's hot dog stand in Agutya. Ungakta says she first started operating the stand at the same spot, beachside, across the street from GCIC in 1972, but had to stop in 2016 to take care of her ailing husband, former Agutya Mayor Felix Ungakta. The money made from the roadside business helped put her 4 sons and daughter, who's here, through college. She proudly displays photos of the kids in the food stand. She says she returned to selling the Frankfurters about 2 weeks ago. So congratulations. I got to make a big deal about this. I absolutely adore this woman, and I love the hot dogs. I mean, it's one thing that there's a lady that's been out there doing it for as long as she has, but it's another because they're so good, and lots of people go through there. Did I already tell you that Uncle Carl and Nancy Jerry are on? Charlene Marchessault is awake. There's Glenn Castro, Eunice Mandiola, Leah Beth, Nahaloa, and just a gaggle of other people that are on the deal. And I'm crazy about interaction. And if you're on Facebook Live, there's a thing over there, and you can see who's on, and you can talk to each other and chat with each other. But one of the other features that I've done so that you can get a little bit more of a real-time feel if you're watching this on a video on demand basis, either on Facebook or on YouTube, where all of the programs eventually go at the end of the day. They go up to YouTube. Is I kind of want you to be able to see some of the chatter that goes on. If you're on Facebook Live, you can see the chatter, but you don't normally see it in the video on demands, and you don't normally see it if you're watching it on thepoint.gu. But I've integrated a system now so that if you type something into the comments on Facebook Live, it'll show up on the screen. And a friend of mine, we were talking about this yesterday, and he says, well, what if somebody puts something profane up there? And I said, well, it's not like we don't know who you are, because it's Facebook, and I can see your name. So I'll know it's you that's throwing that bomb.
That way we can all giggle.
Yeah. So keep in mind now that there's might be some younger people that are associated with viewing this thing. Hey, welcome to Thursday, and an incredible Wednesday of news that we'll chase after this morning. It's no fun to talk about what went on over at the legislature. Frankly, I know how you feel. You want to hear the grilling. You want to hear that BJ makes a noise in his voice when he's exasperated, and you can hear this a couple of times. And I think I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't play some of the audio from yesterday. So, not wanting to do you a disservice, at some point in the program, I'll click on the YouTube link and play some of this stuff for you so you can hear exactly what's going on. And the gist of it is the Department of Revenue and Taxation. And here we are in a place where we have now asked the people of Guam to support the operations of the government of Guam with an additional percentage of the business privilege tax. And come to find out, well, not necessarily come to find out. I think we all knew at the time when we were in the midst of all of this legislative drama, this political drama that was taking place. I think we were all pretty comfortable with the idea that one of the problems was we weren't collecting everything that was owed to the government of Guam. And so you drill down into this as they go back to the legislature and ask for their appropriations for 2019. And BJ says, well, we gave you all of the authority and the appropriations required to be able to fill a number of these positions that could have gone towards collecting all of these lax revenues. And so what's the answer? And Marie, she's a trooper. She gave answers. They weren't good enough for the body. The idea that, well, we had the Trump tax cuts and there's this process and all this stuff that you had to go to. And he says, well, all of that took place this year. You had the authority to make these hires starting last year. What is the problem? Why cannot you hire the number of people that you need to be able to go out and make the collections? And that's not the only problem. That's the only problem. You start looking at what the OPA has written, the Department of Revenue Tax, Property Tax Assessment and Exemptions. The report is out now, and points to a number of issues that they have there. And one of them will require a little bit more investigation here. It's not something I want to shoot off the hip here. DRT did not effectively monitor uncollected property taxes or aggressively collect on delinquent property taxes. Number two, their systems have an inability to identify all owners of new properties, that is John Does, that were added after a 2014 mass reappraisal. So they've got all of these properties. They know that they're there. I believe that they know what the improvements are on these properties, but they don't know who owns them. Therefore, they can't send a letter to them saying, here's what you owe us in taxes. Please swing by the office and pay some of this stuff. The existing systems do not have the ability to create parcel identification numbers. DRT, the Department of Land Management, and the Department of Public Works Systems do not interface. You'd think that would be a good place where there might be some good opportunities for, I don't know, watching what happens over the other guy's shoulders. DRT and DLM did not strictly adhere to their memorandum of agreement, the partridge in a pear tree. And so what's the number? The total unrealized revenues are $40,198,964, which is $10 million more than what Les Carlson is trying to save with the government of Guam, and almost double what they would be getting if from the 1% increase in the GRT, which is about $25 million.
Sure would be helpful if we could collect it.
Yeah. So that's the problem, and you know, you take a look at the editorial. I insist today that you take a look at the editorial in the Guam Daily Post, because they're echoing a sentiment that I've got. We've got to roll back the tax increases. We just need to do a better job of collecting what we've got. There's no longer much doubt that the government of Guam rushed to increase the GRT without first trying its best to improve collections based on existing taxes. And it's not me, the guy on the radio, that says that they need to do this. They had public hearings. You remember they were trying to bail out GMH before that, and talking about getting a loan and maybe another increase in the BPT, all of that stuff. Thank you, Montesilva, who writes this morning, Jesus loves you. I know he does. Let's all sing the song. Yep. So maybe I need to rethink this stuff here. But anyway, that was the interesting conversation from yesterday. But wait, there's more. I was lamenting. You recall yesterday this time there were the lamentations and woes from out my mouth today because we didn't have any Troy stories. Well, hey, you know, I come from the Top 40 radio land. And in Top 40 radio, you might have like 5 songs that people want to hear all the time. You remember Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice? You remember that was on the radio every hour. Okay, so our version, literally, of Ice Ice Baby now is Troy Torres. That is our big hit record right now in talk radio. I wish I'd have planned that.
I ain't high, I'll tell you that, man. I don't feel nothing, man.
I so desperately wish I'd have planned that. Using the Troy Torres analogy with the Vanilla Ice thing.
Yep. That was a nice segue, nonetheless.
Okay, listen, if you heard it and you thought it was brilliant, just assume I planned that. That was not, off the cuff or off the top of my head. But anyway, so my point is that, in Top 40 radio, you get the big songs and they play over and over again. And around here in talk radio, that's our big song. So I'm looking at the newspapers yesterday. I'm going, where's the Troy stuff? Where's the state of Detroit today? As it turns out, he was, maybe he just slept in or something like that. Didn't send out the release. Within an hour after that lamentation, I got a note that said that there was another communication that Troy had made to B.J. Cruz over at the legislature and the Attorney General, Liz Barrett Anderson, and the allegations made. There were several allegations in that email that you asked me to copy on yesterday. Because do you remember what they were off the top of your head?
the Troy allegations?
Checks, bad checks floating.
No, that was
bad
the
checks,
second.
At the Bank of Guam.
That was the second one. There was I'll look at it later, but he sent out one email with a couple of allegations, and then there is another one that he's saying that the government of Guam has issued millions in bad checks. The idea being, well, we're going to send this out. We'll send the checks out on Friday. We know that they are not going to clear until Monday, so we got Saturday and Sunday for everybody to go ahead and cash those checks, get the money out, and by Monday we ought to have the millions and millions of dollars that are required to do in the actual bank account. And so he says that's the big deal. Do you want to add to that?
I just wanted to say I'm really happy that Troy is able to sleep now because that ice makes it hard.
Well, I hear.
Rest.
Anyway, so there's and so we'll go over a little bit of some of that as usual. I'm not really all that concerned about the allegations that he's making. I don't know where any of this stuff is going to end up. I mean, he made an allegation about Jadine Tuncap getting with somebody, a supporter of Dennis Rodriguez, right? And so far that has reached, I think, a dead end over at the Guam Election Commission. They've actually got to go and find legal advice on how exactly to deal with that because it's an allegation made against a commission member, and they don't necessarily have what they need to conduct an investigation on the commission members. It's not something I think that was ever preconceived, so they don't know where to go next. They got legal counsel who's going to take a look at it, get back to them by the 25th, and we'll see what happens. But frankly, to me, that should not have been the big deal out of the Election Commission as they got together last night. The big deal here was, are we ever going to find out what it was that got them into that executive session a few weeks back at the last meeting that they still have not commented on? There's a cloak of secrecy that is surrounding that. But getting back to Troy, I think I'm going to start a new thing now, the Gospel According to Troy. What do you got? I'm looking at my producer here. See, I told you we need to get together every... He says, Menglotnya was forced on many occasions to parade the administration's floats of lies and fairy tales on the financial condition of the government, its cash flow, and its revenue collection before the Guam legislature, under oath, Torres wrote, and added, if she did not abide by specific messages dictated by Artero and myself to deliver before lawmakers, no matter the veracity of these statements, she faced considerable wrath upon her return to Artero's office. This is reading from the Gospel According to Troy. And naturally, it would not be... No, it's not fitting. No, I need something. I need some of this.
It's a circus, man.
I need some evangelical here.
Evangelical.
Do we have any evangelical?
Well, I gave it to you.
That was it?
That's it. That's all I got, man.
And now the statement from the governor's office. And that music is perfect, so go ahead and play that one there. Dun, dun, dun. And the statement from the governor's office reads, we continue to refute the misinformation put out by the political operative of a gubernatorial campaign who is admittedly undergoing drug therapy and subject in an ongoing criminal investigation, said the governor's communications director. We wish this is, and this is the nice part, right? You got to throw some nice in there. We wish Troy the best as he goes through his therapy and continue to pray for him during this rough period.
Yeah, you got to end it on a high note.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We've got to bring in some God.
That's political.
Pray for him during this rough period. So those are just a couple. Okay, so if the table of contents is this big, that's like that much of it, because there's plenty more to talk about and plenty of people to talk about. The governor has signed off on or vetoed or let lapse into law a number of bills that were sent to him by the legislature, and we'll talk about some of those because I think it's all going to be interesting. And speaking of interesting, and I know people can change. People can change. And I remember when it was time for the Republicans on Guam to decide who it was that we would be casting our favor towards in the presidential elections, Governor Eddie Jerome Bozzicalvo said, Ted Cruz, that's my man. If he can't do it, then no one can. And then Ted Cruz went on not to win the election, unfortunately. And so I hope they don't remember those things over at the White House. And I suppose by way of making good, Governor Eddie Jerome Bozzicalvo has said is supporting Donald Trump's nomination for the Nobel Prize.
You have got to be kidding me.
It's a fact. It's out there.
He hasn't
somewhere.
done anything yet. The Koreans threatened to stop the meeting. I mean, let's actually reach an agreement before we start throwing prizes at people.
Why would we do that? They didn't do it for Obama. They didn't wait for anything for Obama. They just said, hey, you're magic. Here's your Nobel Prize. Thank you very much.
So.
Still in a war? Or are we still, still bombing everybody into smithereens out there?
Well,
but still, here's your Nobel Prize. Anyway.
That's how we roll.
And so that's what the governor's up to. I'll see if I know Kevin sent me a copy of it yesterday, and I didn't read it because I couldn't stop laughing at just the idea of it. But maybe I'll arrange some quotes here from whatever that document looks like. Would you look at the time? All right, 6:32 on the Ray Gibson Show, and time for our first look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post today, 41-year-old Jeffrey Guerrero Cruz in custody on allegations he sexually assaulted 4 minors. According to the magistrate report, 3 girls aged 8, 11, and 12, and a 7-year-old boy have all alleged that Cruz molested them on various occasions over the last year and a half. The alleged abuse came to light after the 8-year-old girl told police that she awoke to Cruz sexually abusing her. She ran to her relative's home, reported the incident. Cruz arrested, charged with 7 counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct. Police are asking for the public's help in locating 2 men wanted for questioning in an ongoing investigation of a series of burglaries authorities believe are related. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tabao has identified the 2 men as 26-year-old Gerald Joseph Alvarez and 27-year-old Jeremy Allen Evaristo. Public advised not to approach the individuals, but contact police. Call GPD, the dispatch number at 472-8911. Joint Region Marianas, in coordination with Guam Homeland Security, will begin their annual Typhoon Preparedness Training exercise today. Typhoon Pacquiao 2018, designed to help military and civilian authorities practice how to prepare for and recover from a typhoon. The exercise concludes on May 24th. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
You know, I think I will. iConnect time is 6:34. iConnect wants you to connect longer for less with their incredible mobile and push-to-talk plans.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com. Portions of the program you're listening to right now also brought to you by APL American President Line, shipping the future.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and Boneless Strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
There's no traffic yet. Been looking at the map here, Gizmo, for a long time, and I still don't see anything that is going to look like there's any problems for you. I will suggest, though, that you keep an eye out for the roadways. We are at that time of the year. Maybe it's just an all-year thing for Guam, but we are at that point where there always seems to be one of those places where it's raining up the street 100 yards, but you are dry in your place. I saw a whole bunch of that yesterday, and we're probably going to see a whole bunch of it today. So just be on the lookout for that. Wet roads, some overnight rains, and some showers that might make things a little bit more slippery for you as you're making your way to work and school this morning. 6:35 right now, traffic here on The Point.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
You know, Mark, you're absolutely right. That is the interesting thing. One of the interesting takeaways here. You can read about it in the Guam Daily Post. Torres complaint: Gov Guam issued millions in bad checks, and he goes on to write about Benita Manglotnya, and I don't know. I don't know if she's back yet. She was in the mainland for a little bit, but I don't know if she's made her way back here. He alleged Benita Manglotnya, a member of the governor's fiscal team and now Guam Memorial Hospital's chief financial officer, quote, has made many decisions affecting the financial condition of the government under deep duress from her immediate supervisor, chief fiscal advisor Bernadette Artero, who he said berated and belittled Manglotnya in the open during meetings of their colleagues on the governor's fiscal team. I know Benita Manglotnya. I don't know that anybody is capable of getting in that woman's face. That's surprising. And he goes on, if she did not abide by specific messages dictated by Artero and myself to deliver before lawmakers, no matter the veracity of these statements, she faced considerable wrath upon her return to Artero's office. So is it you telling me that I'm sorry, just don't believe it. Don't that part there. I'm going to definitely need some evidence for. 6:37 in the morning, and as I said, one of the more interesting things took place yesterday as B.J. Cruz, Regine Lee, we had Mike St. Nicholas, Jim Espeldon, and Joe S. Were up on the high part, looking down on Benita Manglotnya. I'm sorry, Marie Benito, different one. Who was that she was with? At the hearing, the guy from Rev, I don't know. I don't know him, and it seems to me that he was trying to answer questions, but they were like, "We don't want to hear from you. We want to hear from Marie. I actually want to hear from Mr. Camacho, but he wasn't around." So what transpires is a series of questions. It all comes back down to you were authorized to hire a bunch of people to become revenue agents for the Department of Revenue and Taxation or other job opportunities at DRT that would have fulfilled our need to bring money into the shop and maybe pay for some of the operations, so we didn't have to go back and hit the taxpayers with an increase in the business privilege tax, and so it comes down to her being able to juggle the different answers that she had at her disposal, and it sounded a little bit like this.
Last year, resignation. So those are what happened. It's not the legislature's doing, but because of resignation, retirement, and then the public law, and then the funding. We didn't have the funds to hire these people because of the tax cut. And
okay, but please, I want it understood that last year before the tax cut,
right?
How much did we authorize in appropriation for this division?
3.6.
How much are you asking for this year to fill those 17 positions? How much are you asking for this year?
801,000.
No, you're asking for 3.2.
No, that's the total. So for the vacant positions, it's 800,000.
Right, I understand.
Combined is 3.2. Yes.
Yeah, for the total, you're asking for 3.2.
Correct.
At the risk of sounding absolutely ludicrous, but I want to do this, is that greater or less than the appropriation you got last year?
Less.
So last year, did this legislature provide you with sufficient funds to fill all those positions?
Yes, yes.
So is there any excuse for tax enforcement not being fully manned?
No, right now the issue is, at the time you did fund us. At the time we could not hire them because of the tax cut. So
the tax cuts was 3 months ago.
That was in January.
October.
So everything was in motion. DOA.
So you lost 17 people in the last year?
No, some of that is because of the 36 that you authorized for us to hire. So while we were doing that in the process in January, everything was frozen because of the tax cut. So we're continuing to hire them. In fact, this has changed Because just last week...
You say we authorized 36.
Right.
How are you going to be able to pick up 17 people, additional people, with less money? Didn't this legislature provide you with enough people to pick up 54 people?
Yes, last budget, correct.
So this legislature gave you enough money.
Yes.
So it's not this legislature's fault
it's
that
not.
you are short.
Right, no.
And I want to walk this through because I want it clear in the public that this legislature did not shortchange you.
No.
So we'll
Absolutely.
go to the next division.
And that's important to be.
Go
ahead and hold off on that. There's a couple of other sound bites in here that I'll find for you. And Kevin seems to think that there might be one where there's a little bit more fireworks. We'll see. But as I said, for BJ, it comes down to making it very clear that the legislature gave them everything that they needed in order, all of the money that they needed to hire a whole bunch of people over at the legislature, over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation, and they simply did not hire all of those people.
They allocated the money, but the money wasn't released.
Which is another part, which is another question. And so we'll see what we can find and see who we can get some clarity on some of that stuff. I mean, I hear what she's saying. I hear what he's saying. End of the day, though, they don't have enough people in order to go out and bring in the money. I've been doing morning radio in a talk format for years, and I remember a previous director of the Department of Revenue and Taxation, Art Logan, who said over and over, that's what we need. I just need more people to go out there and find these places where we're not making our collections and bring them in. But you can't do it without people, and you can't do it without folks that are trained for that job, because these eventually become something like legal actions. And if you don't have, as we know from watching every legal drama in the world, if you don't have the T's crossed and the I's dotted, then you're going to get thrown out on a technicality. So everything has to be done by the book, and so it's a question of getting these guys in and giving them the salary and the tools that they need to get the job done. I was looking at the traffic gizmo just a little bit ago, and I didn't see any traffic. I'm beginning to see a line of traffic now developing in front of Route 8 on the way to 8, 10, and 16. Looks like it loosens up a little bit around the fire station, but you might experience a few lines of a few additional vehicles there and maybe a little bit of slowing down. BJ Cruz writes, I am trying to get the public to understand that the legislature provided enough to fill all of your vacancies. You should have filled all of those positions throughout the year to make sure you didn't have a leakage problem. And the leakage problem is quantified by the OPA based on numbers between 2012 and 2016, $40,198,964. And they also note anomalies in the 2016 tax rolls with $186,000 in question costs. Just can't seem to get the dollars and cents together here. So what do we do? Government of Guam says we're going to make it so that everybody else is going to pay for all of this leakage. So we're unable to collect. So we are going to collect more from the taxpayers in the places that we can collect, i.e. the Department of Revenue and Taxation and their ability to capture monies in the business privilege taxes. How much fun is that going to be? And how much fun is it going to be later on when the Department of Parks and Recreations gets to go before BJ Cruz and other members of the legislature for the 2019 budget hearings? I'm trying to think now. Are they in the midst? Are they in the midst of any kind of issues over at the Department of Parks and Recreation? They got their hands on a few more dollars, so they've got some spending that they can do on different parts of the facility, and hopefully we'll get the right color water in the Agana swimming pool, and maybe even open, as I know my friend James would like to see. Maybe we can get around to opening the Dededo swimming pool. Gosh, one of these days, which seems to continue to be under the deal. You want the truth, you can't handle the truth. Who ordered the code red? I don't know what you're talking about there, James. But he did. Do I have it? Hold on a second. I have not read the story, but just because I'm not on the air doesn't mean that the news stops. It goes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and sometimes it goes in places that aren't actually even around here. Was it him that sent me the link, or was it somebody else? Hold on one second. Give me just a second to pull this thing down. because I thought it was one of the most interesting things I was going to read today. Lawmakers in U.S. territory approve marijuana legislation. And, you know, I'm enough of a guy from around here that when I see U.S. territory, I think they're talking about me. But it's not. The next jurisdiction in the U.S. to legalize marijuana might not be a state. Senators in the tiny territory of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands approved a bill to end cannabis. There's more, but like I said, I don't have the whole story up. Let me just pull it up. It's in the marijuanamoment.net. Is the name of the magazine where you can find it. I'll look at that in a second. Meantime, I needed to talk with Glenn Leon Guerrero. Good morning, Glenn. How you doing there?
I'm good, Ray. How are you?
I'm not bad. Am I on a speakerphone?
Not anymore.
Okay, I was going to or some kind of Bluetoothy thing. I preferred a direct connection because that way you sound better for the listeners on the point here. Just a couple of notes here. Number one, tell me about this truck weigh station gizmo that you guys bought?
Oh.
The scale. That's what it's called, the scale.
Yeah, it's a portable scale.
Nice. How many do we have?
We've got 6 units, but it's one unit that's got to go under each tire. So that's and they're about 50 pounds each. What we're doing, Ray, is that I guess 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, we embarked on enforcing the weight limits for to preserve our roads.
Yeah.
So we have the weigh station at Cabras, and so not to say that we're only focusing on imports exports, we have these portable scales, and we're joining forces with Reventax, the DOT guys that check for the safety of the vehicles, and so we're positioning throughout the island, and so we're in the process of again implementing our program, and this process is going to take us probably till August, maybe September.
Yeah.
And so we're working out the kinks. We're inviting truckers to come so they can see what their weights are like, and so they can make the adjustments before we actually go live.
It's kind of like an amnesty program, if you will. Come on by, we'll take a look at it, and if we find a problem, we'll help you address that problem, but you're not going to get pinched for it.
Exactly.
Now, after the program is all rolled out, there is going to be pinching, right? What's the fine for something like that, and how does that get levied against the truck driver, the truck company?
Well, so we only go after the driver if he avoids us, and he noticeably avoids us. And that's more down at the weigh station. If they don't, because we have a moving weigh station, and if you're moving and it flags you to go into the station and you don't go, then we'll find the driver. But for the most part, because it's the weigh station, and we want to make sure that people comply with the weight laws. It goes after the whoever owns it, not the shippers, but the consignees or
whoever's got is responsible for the truck and the trailer.
Correct.
Okay, so we go after that. What kind of fines are we talking about here? The hundreds of dollars or tens of dollars?
It's on based on on weight, so it's per pound. And gosh, I can't remember off the top of my head what they are, but it escalates if you within 6 months you're penalized twice, and third time. I mean, it can go up to where we actually have the authority to yank a business license. So. Yeah, I mean, we want to be serious about it, but I also don't want to interfere with commerce. So that's why it took me 2.5 years to get this implemented. The law came into play. We calibrated our scales. We went to the public and we said this is our go live date, and we actually extended that maybe 6-8 months or something like that. Because
I got word said from one of my trucking buddies that's listening this morning. He says right now they're sitting on the back road north and south of Hawaiian Rock, but that's just like testing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, I like the idea, and this is important now, and you talk about the preservations of the roadways. I think about it in terms of safety. It wasn't that long ago in my mind that we had a vehicle that was overloaded and could not stop going down the intersection from it's the intersection of Route 8 and Marine Corps Drive. And this truck lost control, could not hit the brakes effectively, and could not stop, and went right through the traffic, killed a guy, I think. And I know scared the hell out of a couple of other guys in the car, including at least one sitting Chief Justice.
Right, and so that actually was the catapult, if you will, for these laws. And I mean, we always had it in place, but we never. I mean, it was difficult for us to. It wasn't really enforced. Let me just say that.
Right, right. Well, I mean, it's hard to enforce. You can't look at a truck and say that it's overloaded. You've actually got to weigh it and find out, because you're just looking at the container. You're looking at whatever the dump truck or the back of the thing looks like. You don't know what's in it. You don't know what the weight is on the road, and you don't know what the demands are going to be on the driver, the braking system. So, yeah, it's important that we at least calibrate that. And then we talk about the preservations of the roadways, and this will take me into the next conversation, I got through Kevin some answers to questions about what's going to be happening at the intersection of 8, 10, and 16. You're just about ready to implement the order to begin construction, right?
Yeah. Well, they're still getting their permits. Once that's done, when either we have issued the notice to proceed. I mean, it's either 2 weeks from now, or it's already happening.
Okay, and so here's the warning now to the drivers of if you are using 8, 10, and 16 on a regular basis, they're going to be doing some construction. Now, if I understand it correctly, what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to shave off the current friction course.
Right. You're talking about the tri-intersection. So we have to take off the top layer, and then we got to scarify. We got to make the grooves deeper so that whatever anti-skid that we put on it sticks this time. And then we're also adding some fibers to strengthen the cohesion.
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, as I said, we're going to shave off the top. Then you've got that concrete layer at the bottom, and if you remember what it looked like when they were building it, then like anything, if even the concrete at your house, you've got to make some chop marks in the concrete so that you've got more surface area for the next course to stick to.
Correct.
Okay, and so there's going to be a different formula for this next course.
Yeah, we're adding fibers, and fibers, they allow the asphalt the anti-skid surface it just strengthens it.
Okay. And hopefully, So we need it to stick on the ground a little bit more, but we also need it to be stronger on the top to be able to withstand all of the different pressures from the vehicles, because you got the cars that are moving on it and turning simultaneously.
That's right.
Which is one of the root causes of it. The question that I had, and it was answered in the document, but I got you on the phone, is I remember that this was conducted by a private organization and should have been warranted. Were we able to get any liquefied damages out of these guys?
Yeah, I don't know, Ray. That was done back in 2012, 13, or 15. 2012. I can't remember. 12. So yeah, I don't remember. And even if it did, but again, the warranty, if there is warranty, is typically a year. That's the construction law. Yeah. So if Joanne Brown didn't get it then it's hard to get now. But my understanding is they would probably have a get out of jail free card on that, because we were waiting on a formula for the friction course that was actually approved by the federal government. And once that was done, my guess is they'd probably look around and say, okay, well that's okay for us. Yeah, my understanding is we came up with a specification. The contractors did meet up with the specification, and as we go on, Ray, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to look at improving all the trouble spots that we had. We have rutting going up hills. We have rutting at certain intersections. So we have a tried and proven formula, if you will. You look at Cars Plus, and that's just, granted, it's just a new road, so we're still seeing how that works, and the technology in road development is throughout the world is still improving. Probably not as fast as your comms, internet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's improving, and so we're going to stay on top of that. We're looking at taking on new technologies for everything we do, including our bridges and stuff like that.
Well, the big deal, and you and I weren't really able to talk about it too much, but the big deal last week was the opening of the bridges in Molesso, and what was it the guy was saying is the users, the drivers down there, are so used to, they have been institutionalized with the delays over the years. They don't quite know what to do when they come up on the the bridges now. It's a good problem to have. A good problem to have. Listen, I appreciate your time. I'll go through some of the other bits and pieces of the report that Kevin filed on that, but. The good news is that they're going to fix Route 8, 10, and 16, the intersection there. The bad news is they're going to fix Route 8, 10, and 16, so there's going to be a summertime full of delays as they pull off the old one and scarify the base course and then put on a new and improved friction course that's going to go on it. And while you're there, can I make this suggestion? Well, I'm sorry, just hit me off the top of my head. Can we open Seagull Avenue?
Seagull Avenue.
Yeah, you know, because 8, 10, and 16 is a three-way intersection, but there is, if you're sitting at the light on Route 10 and you're looking straight ahead, that's Seagull Avenue on Teedson.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I know you asked me that before.
Do it.
We did look into it. I think there was a problem because of easements. I need to look at it again.
Your DPW, just just smack something. There's got to be some paperwork thing that you can do. You know what? You and Mike Borja get together and figure out a way to hook it up so that we can get Seagull Avenue open. If we open that Seagull Avenue up, it will free up traffic that is building right now on Route 8 because the only way to get into Teedson is at that one at the second of the old NAS intersections.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. Don't hold me to this, but I think the problem with the easements is not local government easements. It's a federal government easement. I think it's their pipeline. So I don't know. I just got to. I'll check into it again.
Yeah. See what they've got to say about that because the admiral is really, really nice. He likes everybody around here. Just tell him we need that for the military buildup.
Roger that.
Just tell them it's part of the net negative. Say it was one of the 4 pillars, and just go ahead and pave the thing up.
Okay.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you pretty soon. I'm just trying to help. That's Glenn Leon Guerrero from the Department of Public Works this morning, going over a couple of things. If you are in the trucking business, they are going to be putting some weights, some scales out there, portable scales, as a matter of fact. I think that's pretty cool. With just a couple of minutes before the end of the show, I want to say thank you very much to everybody that is chiming in and joining me online. Alfred Mendoza, there's Renee Lau, Melissa Salas Akimoto, proud mom, is up there. Army Lynn, nice to see you there. Bob Kelly, are you home? There's Tony D'Angelo, Brad Hewitt, my baby sister Rebecca's on the line. There's Bob Delphin from out in Washington, Jody Duenas, Carlos Pangilinan, Becca Salazar there, Yoichi Rengil from the University of Guam, Daniel Anita George Cruz. Hey. It's Daniel Anita Cruz. Never mind that third name. Carl Pangilinan with a K, and also with a K, Ken Leon Guerrero, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree. There's 100 other people that are online, and you can chat amongst yourselves. And now, for the first time, using some sophisticated new technology, when somebody types a comment, you can see it on the actual screen, just like that. Just like that, and we'll be able to preserve those so that if you're watching video on demand, you can see what folks are talking about on the screen while I'm talking on the radio. Sometimes they're the same. More often than not, they're completely different planets. It's 7 a.m. The radio station is KUSG. Hagutnya. We are The Point at 93.3. Coming up, Fox News Live on the other side of that. Kevin Kerrigan with a dose of news from the Guam Daily Post.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. Former Obama-era intelligence officials back on Capitol Hill today for a closed-door hearing on the motives for Russian election meddling. Fox's Peter Ducey.
The reason that lawmakers wanted to hear today from Obama-era intel officials about how and why they came to the conclusion that Russians may have wanted to meddle to help President Trump is because one of the witnesses today, the former NSA director Mike Rogers, has admitted that part of the source material was that unverified and very explosive dirty dossier compiled by the former British spy Christopher Steele. However, After the briefing, the Republican chairman of the Intel Committee, Richard Burr, was satisfied with what he heard.
Burr releasing a statement that he has no doubt Russia made an unprecedented effort to interfere in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump win. The House Intelligence Committee stopped short of finding the effort was intended to aid the Trump campaign. A footnote in the spotlight from the president's latest financial disclosure form. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
According to the just-released form, President Trump acknowledged for the first time that he repaid his lawyer Michael Cohen more than $100,000 for expenses Cohen incurred during the 2016 presidential election. The form did not state what the payments were for, but the president's lawyers have previously said that the president reimbursed Cohen for the $130,000 payment he made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels, who has alleged she had an affair with the president in 2006. The president's total income for 2017 was at least $594 million, and his businesses are worth at least $1.4 billion. Lisa?
John, thanks. Stocks finished higher. The Dow up 62 points, the S&P up 11, the Nasdaq up 46. On the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Administration and the Ad Council.
Prosecutors in California announced 10 children rescued from a filthy home were waterboarded, shot with crossbows and BBs, and had scalding water poured on them. The details of the abuse allegations are included in a motion to increase the bail for the mother, Ina Rogers, who has publicly denied abuse but is now charged with 9 counts of felony child abuse. The father was already charged. Court records also show he was charged with domestic violence and other counts 7 years ago, ultimately pleading no contest and sentenced to about 6 months in jail and 3 years probation. Police say the explosion at a medical office building in Southern California yesterday killed the business owner and was a crime, not an accident.
We don't know what the motive is, so we can't confirm or deny whether she's targeted. We do know that an explosion happened at the location. The investigation's ongoing, and we will try to determine motive.
Orange County Undersheriff Don Barnes, the FBI also investigating and sending potential evidence of a bomb to the main lab at Quantico for analysis. The U.S. Senate votes to restore the Obama administration's net neutrality rules.
The FCC under the Trump administration has voted to repeal some of those regulations which prohibit internet service providers from speeding up or slowing down content.
Rig the internet for the benefit of those who can afford to pay more.
Oregon Democrat Ron Wyden is among those calling for a return to the regulations.
Fox's Jared Halpern on the Hill. It passed the Senate 52-47, but right now there's no companion bill in the House that has enough support to move forward. What qualifies as a service animal and how those animals are treated on airlines could change. Federal transportation officials just announcing they are asking for public comment on proposed amendments to the current policies. In New York, Elisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Water. It covers nearly 3/4 of our Earth. From vast oceans to millions of rivers and streams, we're all concerned with protecting our world's water, but none is more important than the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve your water so that your family is using the best water in the world. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com. As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience, but I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
Now you can choose your favorite Nissan rides and 30 flyaways on Philippine Airlines when you play Micronesia Mall's Your Best Choice giveaway. To play, present mall receipts to win a new Versa Note SR, the Crossover Rogue Sport SV, the Heritage Edition 370Z, or you can choose a tough Nissan truck. Plus, there are great instant prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker. Win more cars, trips, and prizes when you play Micronesia Mall's Your Best Choice giveaway.
The drawing for the Nissan 350Z is Saturday at 2 p.m. You must be present to win.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The public auditor is reporting that the Guam Department of Rev and Tax failed to collect $40.2 million in unrealized property tax revenue between 2012 and 2016, a loss of about $8.5 million every year. The results are detailed in the official audit report released overnight. Copies of the draft report were leaked to the media and others earlier this week. The auditors call it unrealized revenue. They blame Rev and Tax for its failure to collect delinquent property taxes, unassessed or unbilled John Doe properties in cases where the owner is unknown, so Rev and Tax didn't know where to send the bill, unassessed and unbilled CLTC leased properties, and untaxed condominium units, as well as questionable declines in taxable values of some hotels. The audit faults the Department of Revenue and Tax for not effectively monitoring uncollected property taxes, not aggressively collecting delinquent property taxes, and the auditors also report that DRT's computer systems lacked the ability to identify all owners of new properties that were added to the tax rolls after the 2014 mass reappraisal. Governor Eddie Calvo this week signing 11 bills into law, vetoing another, and let 5 lapse into law. The alien labor registration fee under one bill will increase from $1,091 to $2,091 under a bill that was introduced by Senator Regine Bisco Lee. The higher fee applies only to skilled foreign laborers working on military-related construction projects. Contractors whose H-2B employees are working on civilian projects are exempt from the increased fee. It's expected to raise an additional $4 million to help fund local workforce training programs at Guam Community College. Also signed into law was a bill that will allow the Department of Revenue and Taxation to begin collecting the 11% hotel occupancy tax from the dozens of bed and breakfast lodging on islands without the need for additional rules and regulations. That measure introduced by Vice Speaker Therese Terlahi. The governor vetoed only one of the 16 measures passed by lawmakers during the recent session. Senator Talina Nelson's Bill 145 was vetoed. The governor said it would amount to a 360% increase in the conveyance tax and that would hinder economic growth. We'll have more news after this.
Morrico Equipment, located on Ipoh Road, Tamuning, is a heavy equipment dealership and was established on Guam in 1990. Morrico Equipment is now an employee-owned company. Morrico represents 23 heavy equipment manufacturers and supports those products on Guam with sales, rental, parts, and service. The Morrico Equipment rental fleet now comprises of 200 machines. Morrico also offers an on-site diesel delivery service and Trashco Guam, a roll-off trash container service. If you're interested in joining the Morrico ESOP ownership team, find out more on their website at morricoequipment.com.
How about when we lend you money for your home, we pay for your appraisal? That's right. When we make you a loan, we'll pay for the actual cost of your standard appraisal up to $1,500. Add that to our super low rates and you'll see why so many people are coming to Bank Pacific for their home loan. So join them by joining us, Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The Guam Election Commission has decided to seek legal advice on how to deal with a complaint filed last week by former Administration Communications Director Troy Torres. Complaint was discussed at last night's GEC meeting. Torres alleging that GEC board member and the Lieutenant Governor's Deputy Chief of Staff, Jadine Tuncap, delivered a message from Governor Calvo to a well-known supporter of Senator Dennis Rodriguez. The message was, "Vote for the tax hike bill or I won't sign the teacher's contract for your running mate, Dave Cruz." Tuncap, who is also the vice chair of the Election Commission, declined to comment on the allegation. Senator Rodriguez has confirmed that he was pressured to vote for the tax increase, but he did not. The administration has refuted the allegation and pointed out that the Cruz contract was signed by the governor before the vote on the tax bill ever took place. GEC legal counsel Vince Camacho told the commissioners last night that election law provides no clear guidance on how to investigate one of its own members. Camacho will research the complaint and provide legal guidance at the next meeting set for May 25th. DOC Director Tony Lamarina unveiling nearly $3 million in upgrades at the adult correctional facility in Manilao yesterday. Among the improvements, 69 cell doors were replaced in the maximum security unit, as well as the security system that now includes new cameras covering 90% of the facility, and a recreation area was added to the maximum security area as well. Finally, a state of mourning has been declared for former Tamuning Mayor Francisco Castro Blas, who passed away on Tuesday at Guam Memorial Hospital. Governor Calvo ordered that flags be flown at half-staff in the former mayor's honor. Blas is remembered for his strength and love for his village and his constituents. The funeral will be held on May 25th. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
Well, thanks very much. Mostly cloudy skies today, Kevin, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the forecast. We got winds out of the east, 5 to 15 miles an hour. Highs around 87 degrees and overnight lows 78 degrees. Sunset tonight about 6:40. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:54, maybe 5:53, something like that. It's getting lighter earlier because it's that time of year. And it might be nice outside right now, but the predictions are for more thunderstorm scattered showers moving through and being sticky. It's not just today. Looks like it's going to be with us tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday. Who knows, maybe even into early next week. So if you've got some plans for outdoors, you might want to think about rolling by and buying pop-ups from wherever you buy them, or umbrellas, or just party inside.
Yeah, right now we're being straddled by a couple of lines of storms. You can see them just offshore. Nothing over the island right now, so that's good news.
All right, well,
so
yeah, it's going to change. It's sticky. You don't like the weather? Stick around 5 minutes. It'll change. 7:14, that's news and weather together here on The Point.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
You know, here's what if it's raining on your plans for the weekend, go to King's. I've been in King's many times. It never rains in there. It's just going to be completely dry and safe. And so avoid the weather by enjoying your family's favorite meals at King's Restaurant. Always open, always local.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
You know, I was just going to do the portions brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. But I recognized this morning, this whole Kilauea thing is getting worse by the day. I mean, 37, almost 40 homes have been destroyed. Thousands of people have been displaced by this lava flow. And a couple of days ago, they said, yeah. And now with the sulfur dioxide goodness, now we've got the sulfur smell. The toxic gases that are generally associated with the lava flows are something now that is becoming a challenge for people that live and work and play in and around that area. Yeah. And you can put a paper mask on. Didn't make any difference.
Not with that type of gas. Yeah. Fortunately, it's pretty localized just to the southern and southeastern portions of the Big Island of Hawaii. It's kind of interesting because they're getting calls in Honolulu and in Kona, which these areas are not at all affected.
Right. Well, they could be, though. They could be. And we were talking about this the other day, and I was wondering if there was any ash that was coming out. And there is apparently now enough of a crater, and ash is actually coming out of that. So in addition to the lava flow itself, you've got the toxic gases, and now you've got the ash that is going to make things difficult. So depending on the prevailing winds in and around the area, definitely going to be some localized ash fall.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if anything is going to come out here and paint our sunsets.
No. It's don't
go that way.
Yeah, some of that particulate matter could make it here, the lighter portions. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, for those in Hawaii, it will only be a challenge for those living southwest of the volcano because they have the prevailing trades, just like we do. So we could get some of that lighter stuff blown over and make for some nice sunrises. And maybe some nice sunsets if it even
but don't count on it. We'll see what happens. 7:17 in the morning, and that's what we were talking about. And the reason why I brought it up is because First Hawaiian Bank has got a program there that you can find. Go find Ed Untalan or anybody that works over at FHB. Put some money in their hands, and they will make sure that it goes to support the families that are affected by this lava disaster on the Big Island.
Yeah, not to diminish the suffering of those in the Puna area. Those that have lost something have lost everything. So if we can help them out,
that's the nature of it. So like I said, First Hawaiian Bank, go find them online or visit any of the banks, or if you know where Ed's going to be having lunch today, like I said, throw some money at him, and so he'll make the donation on your behalf. It's 7:18.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidigli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan, protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I am in a quandary. And it's because I don't know where to take the program in the next couple of minutes. We got Jerry Roberts and the Extra Point coming up. I've completely forgotten to take a look at because I was wrestling with this quandary now, as I completely forgot to take a look at where the markets all ended up. So I have no idea. I might have to give you those numbers a little bit later on. And
is it a full-blown conundrum?
This is bad.
Oh, wow.
This may be the worst it's been since we've been on the air.
Oh. Let me find the alarm here.
I have two different stories that I can go to here. As we launch into the business report time for the program and the whole Jerry Roberts thing.
Yeah.
And I can't decide on which one that I wanted to focus on. Now, it's a 4-hour show. Obviously, I was going to get to it. But, I just wanted to do something entertaining for the people that are listening now.
When in doubt, flip the programming coin.
So here's the options. There's a story I got my hands on this morning, and this is close to home. Jessica Marati Radparvar. Class of 2008 makes the case for sustainable business models, and they're writing about her in the Princeton Alumni Weekly because Jessica Marati Radparvar is Guam's first ever graduate, first woman of Chamorro heritage to graduate from Princeton. I've known her since she's a little, very, very smart. Very, very smart, this girl. So it goes on to talk about how she was trying to get a job and looking for opportunities in media. It opened the door, and many people started thinking differently about their path, yada, yada, yada. 10 years later, Rad Parvar's path led her to create Reconsidered, a consulting practice that helps organizations craft socially responsible strategies. She works with organizations on communications, community building, and strategy to drive positive behavior change, either internally or with their customers. The current project involves working with Fashion for Good, an Amsterdam-based startup accelerator for sustainable fashion technologies like waterless dyeing. And this ought to be interesting, using mango waste as alternative leather.
Wow. Nice.
So you could make a purse that you could eat later, I guess, is the thing. Rad Parvar is helping Fashion for Good create a museum called the Fashion for Good Experience, which will be dedicated to solving sustainability issues in the fashion industry and facilitating behavior changes in consumers towards more sustainable options. It talks about a place to spark those aha moments that will shape the minds and hearts of people coming through the building. The visitors should leave with the intention to make a real change in how they think about fashion. And then it goes on to talk about how she's grown up on Guam and looking for opportunities to give back to the community. So I thought it was either that story or, and I guess I don't need to read it anymore. I put a link on the Facebook Live if you want to get a copy of it, and it's a pretty picture of Jessica out there. So I'm sure Jackie and the entire family, including Pappy, are real happy to hear me talking about that this morning. And then the other story is this. This is like a business story. A man from Illinois arrested for getting $224,000 worth of manure dumped on his former employer's property. 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks after he won $125 million at the lottery and quit his job. So, Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point he's always talking about, maintaining positive relations with your employees and always trying to be on their side, because you want to spark the creativity, right? You want to spark the loyalty. You want to spark their energy and drive and enthusiasm on the job. And you also don't want them dumping poop on your yard after they win the lottery, because that's 54-year-old Brian Morris from the small town of Clarendon Hills in DuPage County bought over 20,000 tons of manure and asked for it to be dumped on his former boss's property, pretending it was his residence. Dozens of trucks filled with manure showed up in the front of the house about 6 o'clock in the morning and began dumping their smelly cargo over the property's lawn. George Fitzgerald, Mr. Morris's former employer, was awakened by the sound of the vehicles on his property and rapidly called the police. But it took the cops more than 15 minutes to arrive, and by then 10,000 tons of manure had already been dumped on the lawn.
I think it's no coincidence that guys our age are the ones that do this sort of thing.
Brian Morris is standing right across the street and laughing when the police arrived, and he rapidly came over to confess his responsibility and explain his motivations. The police said the accused told us he'd worked for the victim for 17 years and was treated like blank. He says he had to endure his mistreatment because he needed the money, but now that he won $125 million, it was time for revenge. And he laughing right up until they took the picture of it. And I've got a shot of the guy, getting the same ones that we do for our magistrate reports around here. Big gigantic smile on his face, happy to be arrested for dumping $200,000 worth of poop.
Not care less.
On his yeah. I love this story. Yeah.
Just think of how much his boss is going to collect after the lawsuit is settled.
Oh, well, it's just manure. Roll it back
What do you
up.
think you get? A couple of $100,000 to clean up that mess from his former employee?
Yeah, but I mean, after
he
enduring,
just made his former boss rich.
Yeah, but after enduring hell for 17 years, don't you suppose it might have been worth it? Well, you got $125 million.
Take this job and
yeah. I ain't working here no more. 7:25. We got time for Jerry Roberts and the real Extra Point.
You know you want to get somewhere, but you're not entirely sure where or what to do when you figure that out. I'm Jerry Roberts, and since I know you're thinking about that, I want to help today on the Extra Point. Alice said to the Cheshire Cat, "Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?" "That depends a good deal on where you want to get to," said the cat. "I don't much care where," said Alice. "Then it doesn't matter which way you go," said the cat. Another way to say this is if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. A lot of people live their lives like that. They don't make choices. They sort of let life happen and choose for them. I prefer to be a little more proactive than that. And if you feel the same way, this is for you. Mark Twain once said, "The two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why." Author and performance psychologist Jim Lohr says this: "We should add a third day to that, the day you intentionally decide to focus your energy and your life with that why." Leadership expert Andy Stanley agrees and emphasizes that while being intentional is obviously important, the first key is to figure what to be intentional about. Get the direction figured out, then get on with it. Both men say we should keep it simple, that it's a point A to point B thing. Once you know what you want, you look around and figure where you are. How far away from your eventual goal are you? That's point A. Then draw a straight line to where you want to be, and that's your point B. This isn't advice solely for determining one's career. It can also be for short-term plans, adding a particular skill, maybe a project that you want to take on. When I say draw a straight line from point A to point B, that means get there in the shortest time possible. We face our greatest leadership challenge every morning in the mirror, says Stanley. He believes we can be difficult to lead because we've mastered the art of deceiving ourselves and justifying our poor decisions. Direction determines destination, he says. We all want to end up somewhere on purpose. Once we figure out our direction, then we get intentional, making sure our behaviors, thoughts, work, and relationships align to keep us on track. I must prioritize what I value most over what I may want right now. If we've failed in the past to reach the important goals we've set, it's almost certain that we've failed to align our life with what we've said we want and made it a firm priority. Figure out the direction you want. Get intentional about it. Draw the shortest line possible from point A to point B. Make your plan and prioritize your life to follow it. Let me know when you get there. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Did you hear all of that great advice? And why do we want to do all of that? So your employees don't dump on you when it's all said and done and they win the actual lottery. 7:27 in the morning. I do have some numbers for you, and you're not going to like them. The numbers for West Texas crude this morning, $71.49. It was just a few days ago. They were breathless because it hit 70. So expect more wailing and lamentation from your stateside friends as the price for their gas goes up. I hate to say it, but I think that we are going to be seeing another increase as well. I'm looking at the latest numbers for Tapis crude, up by $1.71. Tapis is now trading at $79.73. $79.73. Now, the last couple of days, it was $78, and we thought that was pretty expensive. And it wasn't that long ago that we were watching it traded in the 77s. $79 and change here. Yikes. Almost $80 for a barrel of Tapis. So brace yourself. I got a feeling that there's probably going to be another price hike going up at the pumps. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even this week. It might be one of those things where they got to wait until they actually start cutting checks to buy the gasoline that goes in there. And another point that I brought up, but maybe you didn't get a chance to hear it, you thought it was getting bad over on the price of gasoline. Price of fuel went up. The May 1st, the second of the LEAC charges for this time of year have gone into effect. So if you got your power bill, take a look at the number. It is up because the kilowatt hour charge, the fuel kilowatt hour charge has gone up by, I want to say, nothing of a cent, but still in all, when you start adding it up over the number of kilowatt hours you use, you're definitely going to be feeling it. 7:29 in the morning, and Carl Pangilinan sent me a picture I put on Facebook Live this morning, and I can't tell if it's Photoshopped. Maybe you can, but it's a golfer presumably on a golf course on the big island of Hawaii, and in the back, a pyroclastic cloud.
Yeah, that is actually not photoshopped. That's from the Volcano Golf Course, which is about 2 or 3 miles as the crow flies from Kilauea Volcano.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a for real picture.
For real, for real.
So that's
There's
a real
no-
pyroclastic cloud.
That pretty much is dust, steam and dust, because what's happened is the lava has sunk below the water table. You've had rocks fall in there and kind of plug it up. So every now and then it'll release that. That pressure will build up and it'll go poof like that right there. Not that dangerous.
So
but
Carl says it came from, so it's not fake news, it came from ESPN. So I've got to imagine that having a golf course next to the volcano park while it's having all these earthquakes, really, really good. Because Carl knows when this happens, right? You got this majestic putt lined up, and you line it up, and you're studying it like you're Tiger Woods, and you hit the ball, and it goes, and it just sits at the lip of the cup.
Right.
So if there's an earthquake
Little
at that
trimmer,
point and it falls
pops it
in,
right in.
you get the point, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, because you did not manipulate the ball other than the hit.
It's 7:30 in the morning. Did we already take the break?
No, we're about
we should.
to.
We'll take the break and come back with headlines from Kevin Kerrigan and the Guam Daily Post.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time isn't wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There are so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Hey, guess what? It's time to find out what's happening in the world in news from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, Governor Eddie Calvo among 7 Republican governors who have signed a letter supporting the nomination of President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. The letter praises Trump for his unprecedented victory for global peace and security in his negotiations with North Korea and hails him for his successful policy of security through strength. In addition to Calvo, the letter was signed by the governors of Alabama, Kansas, Mississippi, Maine, West Virginia, and South Carolina. President Trump is expected to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Singapore in June. However, the North Korean regime yesterday threatened to cancel the Trump-Kim summit, saying it won't be pushed into abandoning its nuclear weapons program. DOC Director Tony Lamarena unveiling nearly $3 million in upgrades at the adult correctional facility in Manilao yesterday. Among the improvements, 69 cell doors replaced in the maximum security unit, as well as a new security system, including new cameras that'll cover about 90% of the facility grounds, and a recreation area added to the maximum security unit as well. A state of mourning has been declared for former Tumon Mayor Francisco Blas, who passed away on Tuesday at GMH. Governor Calvo ordering flags flown at half-staff in the former mayor's honor. Blas is remembered for his strength and love for his village. A funeral is scheduled to be held on May 25th. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Right on. 7:33 is iConnect. Time connect longer for less with their incredible push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
American President Lines yesterday celebrating a milestone, their 100th voyage from the West Coast out to Guam and Saipan. Congratulations, APL, shipping the future.
From September 17 to September 19, 2018, the Archdiocese of Agana will be conducting settlement conferences with victims of clergy abuse. If you have a claim and want to meaningfully participate in the September settlement conferences, call Hope and Healing Guam at 1-888-649-5288 before August 1st, 2018. All conversations with Hope and Healing Guam are confidential. If you have filed a lawsuit against the Archdiocese, you are already included in this settlement process.
All right. Is it time for traffic? No. Did you want me to do something else? Oh, those guys. Security Title brings you the radio show here this morning on the point when you absolutely need confidentiality in your real estate transactions.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any two toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
Now it's time for the traffic. I'm looking at the gizmo here, and the gizmo says the traffic is building at all of the usual locations, 8, 10, and 16. Look pretty clear right now, but you're going to see some slowing down as you move from the intersection southbound on Route 8 towards Agana. If you're going into Agana, you might see some slowing down on the road that takes you from Route 7 behind the Poke Fry into the Agana Shopping Center area by the pool. That's beginning to get a little bit heavy this morning, and traffic getting into Big Navy down at Sumai is backed up a little bit. Don't know why. I think it's just maybe they're just moving a little bit slower at the gate. Those are the only two hot spots I'm seeing right now, but you will begin to see traffic build up north and southbound on the north side of the 1 and 3 intersection. Traffic beginning to build at the Guam Regional Medical City Light, and it's going to get heavy in just the next few minutes. So try to get into traffic a little bit early this morning. Don't know what the road conditions are like. I know there's some overnight showers, and maybe there's going to be some spots where it's still a little bit slippery. Your mileage may vary. Just be careful, would you, please? 7:36. That's right now. Traffic on the point.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Dude, that's my jam. That's my jam right there. Got a note. I was showing the picture that Carl found on ESPN and wrote to him. I said, Kevin wants to know if the guy in the red shirt is you. And Carl with the case says, dude, a drive by me would trigger the volcano. Even from Guam, it would trigger the volcano. Because that's Carl with a K. Pangilinan. You can find him on the Facebook Live feed here this morning, and there's a bunch of people that are chiming in. And a note, I've made a minor correction, not a minor correction, a minor addition, if you will, to the way we're doing the comments. If you are on Facebook Live, you can see the comments. But for people that are watching on thepoint.gu or video on demand later in the program, you don't necessarily get to see what those comments are in real time. You will be able to do that from now on. As in Jonathan Bullwinkle put up a thing, said, nice pick. Nothing stops the golf game. It's a fact. And so that message came up and will be visible through all of the video on demands and the YouTube feeds that we've got. 888-8255. That number again is 888-8255. You can go ahead and turn the music all the way down. Thank you so much. You know, when I was in music radio, it's you always talked with music in the background, and now I'm in talk radio, and it's just annoying me to pieces when I need you to hear me. I was bragging for American President Lines and the idea that they've celebrated their 100th voyage, and it got me thinking, Kevin Kerrigan, about our program here. And when we are going to hit that milestone of our 100th show. And according to Mike, who I put in charge of doing the edition, according to Mike, yesterday was our 75th show.
Whoopee!
Right? So we're like 25 shows away from the milestone. What do you want to do for our 100th episode of the show here on The Point.
We'll have to do a remote from Saipan.
You know, there is that, we've been talking about it, and maybe we'll boat up and plane down, or plane up and boat down. I haven't quite figured it out, but I was thinking that one of the things that I'd like to do is we do a theme show and give away 100 things.
We could do the best of and take the day off.
Go golf with Carl. Why not?
He's got a powerful swing.
So here's if you're an advertiser on the show, one of my guys is going to be getting near you before too much longer, and we're going to see if we can set up something really big, something bang up special for the 100th anniversary of not the 100th anniversary. None of us are that old. The 100th episode of the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point. And I was doing the math. Yesterday. We could actually, if I hold my nose the right way and I really make nice with the people that I don't know, 76. Wouldn't it be cool to give away 100 gallons of gasoline?
Ooh,
right. It's not that expensive. Okay. Look, it's $4.43 for a gallon of gas, but 100 gallons of that is only going to end up to be how much? Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, neither one of us good at mathematics in the morning. I can't take the pressure of math at 7:45 in the morning. Actually, 7:40 in the morning. So be thinking about that. If you're an advertiser of the program, don't wait for my salespeople to find you. Come up with an idea, and we'll talk about it, because I want to make this the biggest broadcast radio event on Guam, second only to the debut of the show, right? Second only to the actual debut of the program. I want to make our 100th episode. I want to make it a real big, hairy deal. So start thinking about that and get a hold of me, and that will be cool. That'll be all right. Did he? Oh, did he? Oh, I'm sorry. It says, give him a couple of minutes to pull over and get off the Bluetooth, is what you said. So when we talked to him the other day, he was going into the dentist's office.
Right.
And so when I just saw Bluetooth, and I thought, wow, how do you get rid of that? How do you even get Bluetooth?
Blueberries.
Sorry, doctor, I got Bluetooth. Can you help me? It sure hurts an awful lot. Senator Tom Dehama-Ada on the line. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Ray.
I wanted to congratulate you. The governor has apparently let one of your bills lapse into law.
Well, I had 3 bills that he allowed to lapse into law. So which one are you talking about?
The real exciting one is the power plant one, because that's the one that's going to put the power plant up over by GRMC up on that roadway up there.
Yeah. So with the passage with that now becoming law and rezoning that area, it allows GPA now to move to the next step, and now they know that they can build a power plant there.
Mm-hmm. And so we will obviously see some of the things the wheels begin to turn on that a little bit more as we move through the rest. Now, the other 3 bills, tell me about the action on those.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I almost have to take a look at the thing myself. It's either that, or we're going to talk about the press release that Frank Uggan sent out the other day. You want to spend any time on that?
Well, no. First of all, so the other bill that got passed into law was the bill that has to do with the leases of public land in longer than 5 years,
mm-hmm.
which requires the publication of a determination of need, and basically the purpose for that is just to let prospective developers know that there's this piece of public property, for example, up at the airport, that's available, and that the airport is looking for a developer to put in certain infrastructure, and then they're required to send a copy of that to the legislature for information.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, those preliminaries are done, then they can issue the solicitation for whatever kind of development they want to have take place. So that was the second bill. The third bill was really I guess you could call it a somewhat of a special legislation, because there's a piece of property in ORDOT which the public was using an individual's piece of property as their access easement. And so he just basically says, okay, fine, you want to use that as a road, give me, I want to at least do a land exchange.
Yeah.
So that got resolved, and gosh, I forgot what the other one was.
It's you guys sent a lot of bills down to the governor's office, and frankly, the one on the electricity and the electric farm that you guys want to build up, or the GPA wants to build up, obviously that's an important one, and the one that stands out in my mind as being the most significant of them. I think it's going to be interesting to see what JB and the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, et cetera, are going to be able to do with that property and the different versions of fuel that they'll be able to burn in there that might make a difference on my power bill that only seems to be going up these days. I don't know if you heard me talking about Tapas crude a few minutes ago. It's now at $79, just shy of $80 for a barrel of Tapas.
Yeah, it's going up.
Yeah, it's definitely going up. You're going to feel that at the pump. So we got to get to work on repealing this liquid fuels tax.
Well, there's that. There's also the bill that's been introduced to, repeal the sales tax. So yeah, we got some interesting bills coming up on the forefront here, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's probably going to be an effort to try and get those bills for this coming session, which is next week.
I can't think of any more important bills that need to be looked at in the next session. I think that one needs to start the process all over again because we now know or understand better things that I don't think we knew back in January, what the nature of the leakage issues were over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. The idea that they've foregone $40 million in unrealized revenues just between 2012 and 2016. We got to put a cork in that and start collecting those dollars.
Yeah, so I think as a result of yesterday's budget hearing, I mean, that just really kind of puts a little bit more impetus to those bills for, the senators to really take a closer look at.
Well, and I hope that we get a chance to do that soon. And was that your primary takeaway from the budget hearing yesterday? Were there other bits and pieces that you thought were kind of timely but seemingly overshadowed by that conversation?
Well, I think it was mostly the fact that, at the outset, the problem was identified to be the lack of personnel. So, money was appropriated to address that issue. And then, we come back months later and find out that for one reason or another, the vacancies haven't been filled yet. So, yeah, I guess it's we need to really take a second look at this.
But there's also the question, and this came up in conversations that I've had with Doris Brooks. Their MIS system is hopelessly out of date.
Well, there's that. There's also the. I know that when we had the budget hearing for Department of Land Management, how the two systems. For example, when, change in ownership or whatever is made and it's registered over at land management, that information doesn't, automatically get transmitted to Rev and Tax, and it has to be then manually inputted over at that end. And so, those two systems need to get synchronized. And then there's a problem. There's a problem, for example, of the many. Although we updated the tax rolls, you find a number of John Does, and it appears that it's not because we really don't know who it is. That information is up at land management. It's a matter of getting up there and going through the files and making that link manually.
But you shouldn't have to. Didn't land management just get a brand spanking new, well, not just, but in the last few years, got an upgraded computer system? I want to say that was back in 2014 that should have answered all of those questions or made it easier for them to be able to do exactly those things.
Well,
there's even connections to web applications. The Guam Land app that Will Castro put together. I think that was all based on real time API calls into the software system over at the Department of Land Management.
Apparently doesn't talk to Reverend Tax.
Yeah. Well,
that's a problem.
Yeah, but in the future, maybe we need to think about getting a consultant for an island-wide kind of MIS, like the AS4000, but something that's obviously up to date that will work with these varieties of systems that we've got there, or maybe have somebody come in and build an entire new system with hospital modules and Department of Education modules and federal grant modules and all of those different things. It just seems to me that if we could step into the future that way, we'd be able to be a lot more efficient in the operations in the government.
Yes, and I think that was probably part of the reason why, the Office of Information Technology was stood up to try and start, tying these loose ends together.
Okay, well, I'll ask the snarky question because I can't actually think of anything that they've done. Can you? How much? What's the budget nut on that? Oh, this is going to be interesting when they come in for their budget hearing to find out what accomplishments they've been able to do at considering all of these issues that we're talking about that are digital information issues. It's just me. So I can't have a conversation with you without making reference to a press release that your colleague Senator Uggan sent out the other day. May I?
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, it says here, Senator Atta claims that it will take 20 years to adopt rules and regulations, but in the 33rd Guam legislature, Senator Atta quickly introduced and successfully passed his measure to add rules and regulations to the CLTC commercial lease program. The bottom line is that once the rules and regs have been adopted, the moratorium is lifted. So the myth of 20 years to pass another set of rules and regulation is just another fear tactic.
Okay, and the other half to that story is that it took 20 years for the rules and regulations to get from the executive branch over to the legislative branch. And it is true that once it got into the legislative branch, that it was a matter of weeks where we were able to then conduct a public hearing, get it on the agenda, and get it passed. So that's the other half of the story.
That's why we do this show, is to get the both sides of the issues, both sides of the stories. Senator Uggan made a claim. Senator Atta here backing up his position that, yeah, it's 20 years to get rules and regulations adopted. The AAA process is a bear to get through. It takes time.
That's right. And, sometimes, the AAA process requires that, for example, if land management was to develop today, or Chamorro Land Trust Commission was to develop today a set of rules and regs, it has to go out there. It's required to go do public hearings. Then it sends it up to the governor's office. Sometimes it never makes it out of the governor's office. And then when it finally gets down to the legislature, then, that's something that the pace of that can be controlled by the legislature. But, a good example is when the Chamorro Land Trust Act law was enacted in 1974. That law required that rules and regs needed to be developed, promulgated first for the issuance of land leases for residential and agriculture. That took 20 years before it finally got enacted and approved by the legislature. From again, it was that long trek from the executive branch to the legislature. And then after that got enacted in 1994, then that particular set of rules and regs says that, you will not issue commercial licenses until, or leases until you've got a set of rules and regs. That took another 20 years.
What is so hard about it?
Well, it's not so much hard. Sometimes the political will is not there. There were administrations that viewed the Chamorro Land Trust as taking away, the powers of the governor, for example, to be able to dispose of these lands. There's that issue. There's segments of the community out there who disagree with the Chamorro Land Trust property.
There's lawsuits, to be sure.
Yeah. So, there's all those obstacles along the way. So that's why it's not a direct, it's not a short and narrow path down to the legislature. So this 20 years is not a myth. And the way that bill was written, is that we would put a moratorium on the program until we have developed a set of rules and regulations that's approved. Well, you know, again, it's kind of deja vu. And there is a set of rules and regulations. It's called the Paul Bordallo Rules and Regulations, published in Public Law 23-38.
So just adopt it, update it, and put in the narrow rules or more narrower rules of control over the Chamorro Land Trust Commissions and land management's oversight of that.
Exactly. So I think what is needed now is 20 years later, 23 years, I guess, to be exact. Really, those rules and regs, the law itself needs to be. We need to sit down and take a look at it. For example.
Well, and you'll have oversights on that in just a little bit.
Yes, and for example, you know, this idea about once I receive a lease that I cannot transfer it. The law right now says I have to hold on to it for 7 years. Well, you know, is that really what we want? Is that really necessary? So there's circumstances, I think, you know, 20 years later that may warrant taking a look at this and maybe saying we don't need that now.
You can do that based on the hearings that you're going to be having in what, the next week?
Yes, and
okay.
I think the purpose of the hearings, tonight's meeting, I think will generate more information based on what the commission wants to do.
Oh, that's right. Tonight is so the first. What time is the get together?
You know, I want to say that's at 1 o'clock, I think, and then the first hearing is on May 22nd, next week in the evening at 5 o'clock, and that's going to be the first hearing that will basically be an opportunity for land trust applicants to come in and say, "Hey, look, here's my experience."
Right.
And you know, so that's going to generate a lot of information, and then. On the 24th, that same week, next week, we will have the second hearing at 5 o'clock, starts at 5 o'clock. And basically, it will then be the Land Trust Commission that will be sitting in front of the panel and basically just answering questions. How was compliance, you know, was the processing of leases in compliance with these laws, et cetera? And find out, you know, well, based on our investigations, we have found out that this is what happened. So, and then the following week, we will be having the third and final hearing, which is to take a look at the income and the expenditures of the Chamorro Land Trust. You know, there was always said that, well, we need to survey the lands, but we don't have funds. Well, there's been a lot of funds. It's got income coming in now. How has it been expended? Well,
and there could be even more income coming in when we start looking at some of the other properties that are under the control of the government of Guam, and allowing instead of GITA, which has been seems to me the course of habit recently, is letting GITA manage and lease out all of those properties or look for tenants for those properties. Let the CLTC take some of that and be able to derive some revenue so that they can continue to fund the surveying. I understand that there's going to be people that would argue that point as well. Senator, I'm going to let you run. I know you've got some business to take care of today, so I'm going to let you get to it.
Okay, thanks, Ray. You have a good day.
I certainly will. I
look forward to that 100th episode.
Yes, and a chance to win. You know, I was thinking for you 100 minutes in the dentist chair. How's that? Want to do something like that?
Okay.
All right. See, now you just need to start thinking in those terms. You get the 100th episode anniversary that's going to be coming up. What did we decide that was? June 20th? Something like that? June 20th, which is going to be the day that we celebrate the 100th episode of the radio station, of the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point. I'm really excited about the ideas that I've got already floating around in my head, right?
I hope there's food involved. That's all. You know.
But
because the pay I get is getting to work with you and Kevin.
Right. I'm just trying to, I agree. Maybe there could be some kind of food, but what do how do you want to do that? It's like 100 French fries, or
all smothered in gravy.
100 calories of something. It sounds like a lot. 100 calories is like 4 potato chips, right? So we got to think.
Call
bigger.
on Kings to deliver.
100 pounds of food. But you know, the 100-gallon
We'll
thing.
have to have a big party.
Yeah. So there's a story in marijuanamoment.net. It's a website, and I guess it's a kind of a magazine website that talks about the next jurisdiction in the U.S. to legalize marijuana might not be a state. Senators in the tiny territory of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands approved a bill to end cannabis prohibition Wednesday. Under the legislation, adults over 21 years of age would be allowed to grow, possess, and use marijuana. A legal and regulated system of commercial production, processing, and retail sales would be created. Resulting tax revenues would be used to fund implementation of the program and other government services. I've been talking about this for a while. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I don't care about marijuana smokers, and it doesn't make any difference to me. But if the CNMI is taking these steps, somebody needs to go and get a copy of that and introduce SAME here on Guam and just skip the entire process. We want to talk about that and more on the other side of Fox News and Kevin Kerrigan with news from the Guam Daily Post. That's ahead right here.
Disturbing accusations. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. 10 children removed from a squalid Northern California home showed signs of violent abuse, prosecutors say. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has more live.
Lisa, police in Fairfield had said they found feces and garbage inside the home when they responded to reports of a missing 12-year-old, whom they later found nearby asleep under a bush. But after they removed the 10 kids, ranging in age from 4 months to 12 years, they found out they'd been hit, burned, shot with a pellet gun, and now prosecutors are revealing they were also waterboarded and shot with crossbows. Today, their mother, Ina Rogers, who had already been charged with neglect, was charged with child abuse. The judge also raised her bail. The father, Jonathan Allen, has been charged with torture. He was sentenced to 6 months in jail back in 2011 for a domestic violence case involving Rogers. Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. President Trump says the U.S. hasn't been officially notified about the threat from North Korea to pull out of next month's summit.
We haven't seen anything. We haven't heard anything. We will see what happens. Whatever it is.
Yesterday, Pyongyang had said that it had no interest in a one-sided affair to pressure the North to abandon its nuclear weapons. Former intelligence officials in Capitol Hill today meeting with senators about the motives for Russian interference in the 2016 election.
The Senate Intelligence Committee says Russia wanted to help President Donald Trump win, breaking with the findings of its twin panel in the House. Committee member Republican Jim Risch says Russia's aim was to sow discord, but
I would readily concede that by the number of rubles they spent more supporting Trump.
The Senate committee has not yet issued its final report, but in a joint statement with Republican Richard Burr, Democrat Mark Warner said the Russian effort was ordered by President Putin himself for the purpose of helping Donald Trump and hurting Hillary Clinton.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in Washington. Fox News, fair and balanced.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
Tens of thousands of teachers in North Carolina rallying for higher pay and more education funding. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more live.
Lisa, North Carolina Association of Educators President Mark Jewell says it's time for lawmakers to stop shortchanging teachers.
Today, we tell all of our legislators that North Carolina public school educators, parents, and communities demand better for our students.
Democratic Governor Roy Cooper telling educators he has their backs.
We trust you, teachers. And you know what? Now we need to put our money where our trust is.
Cooper's budget calls for an extra $112 million to boost teacher pay. Lisa?
Steve, it's an environmental mystery. Scientists say chemicals long since banned from production are continuing to eat away at the Earth's ozone layer.
It was back in the late 80s when the making of chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons was essentially stopped after the ozone hole was discovered over Antarctica. But earlier this decade, levels started rising again. Now scientists say emissions are at about the same levels as they were 2 decades ago, and they don't know why. Scientists have traced emissions to areas near the Koreas, China, and Mongolia, saying secret production could be happening there. Researchers say if the rise continues, the layer that protects the Earth from ultraviolet rays that can cause skin cancer will again be in jeopardy. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
More than 100 people have been interviewed in the investigation into Steve Wynn, founder of Wynn Resorts. That's according to the internal committee looking into the allegations. The committee's chairman telling shareholders in Las Vegas for the company's annual meeting that the committee has also reviewed 3 million documents. Steve Wynn resigned in February after the Wall Street Journal reported that several women said he harassed or assaulted them. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Chili's Smokehouse menu just got tastier with their new smoked honey chipotle short ribs, marinated and smoked for hours. Try the smoked honey chipotle short ribs and chicken combo, or enjoy the family combo with mouth-watering honey chipotle short ribs, Texas-sized baby back ribs, crispy chicken, and juicy barbecue chicken served with home-style French fries and corn on the cob. It's the Chili's Smokehouse menu, now with smoked honey chipotle short ribs, available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and Boneless Strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The public auditor reports that the Guam Department of Rev and Tax had unrealized revenues of $40.2 million, resulting from various failures of DRT to collect real property taxes between 2012 and 2016. It's a loss of about $8.5 million every year. The results are detailed in the official audit report released overnight. Copies of the draft report leaked to the media earlier this week. The auditors blame Rev and Tax for its failure to collect delinquent property taxes, unassessed or unbilled John Doe properties in cases where the owner is unknown, so Rev and Tax didn't know where to send the bill, unassessed and unbilled CLTC leased properties, untaxed condominium units, and questionable declines in taxable values of certain unnamed hotels. The audit also faults DRT for not effectively monitoring uncollected property taxes, not aggressively collecting delinquent property taxes, and the auditor's report notes that DRT's computer systems lack the ability to identify all owners of new properties that were added to the tax rolls after the 2014 mass reappraisal of property on island. The Guam Election Commission has decided to seek legal advice on how to deal with a complaint filed last week by former Administration Communications Director Troy Torres. The complaint was discussed at last night's Guam Election Commission meeting. Torres has alleged that GEC board member and the Lieutenant Governor's Deputy Chief of Staff, Jadine Tuncap, delivered a message from the governor to a well-known supporter of Senator Dennis Rodriguez in March. The message was, "Vote for my tax hike bill or I won't sign the teacher's contract for your running mate, Dave Cruz." Tuncap, who is also the vice chair of the Election Commission, has declined to comment on the allegation. Senator Rodriguez has confirmed that he was pressured to vote for the tax bill, but he did not. The administration has refuted the allegation and pointed out that the Cruz contract was signed by the governor before the vote on the tax bill ever took place. GEC legal counsel Vince Camacho telling the commissioners last night that election law provides no clear guidance on how to investigate one of its own members. Camacho will research the complaint and provide legal guidance at the next meeting set for May 25th. We'll have more news after this.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Governor Eddie Calvo this week signing 11 bills, vetoing another and letting 5 others lapse into law. Among the bills that were approved, a measure nearly doubling the alien labor registration fee, which rises to just over $2,000. And Revenue Tax can now start collecting the 11% lodging tax without the need on bed and breakfast establishments, without the need for any rules or regulations which had held up the implementation of that tax for the past couple of years. Governor also vetoed Senator Talina Nelson's bill, which he said would amount to a 360% increase in the conveyance tax, and that would hinder economic growth, according to the governor. Among the 5 bills allowed to lapse into law without the governor's approval was Senator Frank Uggan Jr.'s bill transferring procurement authority for the reconstruction of Simon Sanchez High School from the Department of Public Works to Guam DOE. It was passed unanimously by lawmakers despite a warning from the legislature's legal counsel that it could lead to another legal challenge. The Guam Economic Development Authority seeking legislative support to borrow money and buy a defunct retail building that is sitting on land already owned by GovGuam. GITA has made an offer to buy the former Hakubutan building across the street from the ITC building in Tamuning for about $4.8 million. The building used to be a duty-free store but was later converted into office space and a seafood restaurant. Although the price is lower than the $6 million the seller is asking for, GITA's offer would still amount to a financial lifeline for the building's owner, SH Enterprises. SH Enterprises has notified GITA that it is suffering financial hardship because of late payments from GovGuam for food vendor services. As a result, the company has had trouble making payments back to GovGuam on the ground lease for the property their building sits on. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Let me see if I can get that right. So one of the problems that this company is having is they do business with the government of Guam, and the government of Guam is not paying them on time, and so now they're having a hard time making the note back to, is it the bank?
They
or
own
Agita?
they own the building, and the building sits on land that Guam owns.
Right.
They have to pay a land lease on that. They're having trouble paying that land lease because
the government of Guam isn't paying them. So couldn't they just take the money out of what they owe Gita and keep the lights on?
We shall see.
I don't. That's a very, very interesting story. The one part of it, though, is that my understanding is that the numbers are all the way off. The offer that Gita made to them is worth substantially more than the payoff on the note would be. So why don't we just go and pay off the note, and then we'll take over the building, and everybody will be happy. I don't know. It used to be an interesting place to go and get a bite to eat in that building once upon a time, and incredible memories of going to visit my friend Tom Higa when he worked over at Hakubotan years ago. Mostly cloudy skies in today's forecast. There's scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. If you hold on a second, I'll see if I can get the weather map updated and on the screen so Michael Knight can tell you why we can expect isolated thunderstorms to be hitting us over the course of the next several days. East winds up to about 15 miles an hour. Expected highs today, 87 degrees. Overnight lows tonight should be pushing about 78. Sunset, 6:40. I'd say green flash time is at 6:40, but I've tried to go and watch every sunset in the last week, and I have not seen anything like a green flash. Last night, close.
Yeah.
We are really close last night, and so the sun's going down, and you're looking, and there's no clouds low in the horizon, and sure enough, as soon as the sun started getting really, really close to the horizon, and when you think that, then all of a sudden, there was this column of cloud
way out there. Yeah.
So that kind of ticked me off. I had to have another beer as a result of it. 8:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on the Point. Now, looking at the map, here's Michael Knight to tell us why we're getting the kind of weather we're going to have today.
Well, once again, we're right under the timestamp, under the arrow there. Guam kind of in the middle, lower part of that box. You can see all of that blobbage to our east or to the right of Guam, and that's all going to be coming through over the next few days. So it just going to really kind of
how is it going to come in from the right hand side?
That's right.
It looks
coming
like
in from
there's
the right.
wind pushing from the left.
Well, there is a little spin. That's what the trough is all about. There's a counterclockwise spin, but a trough is elongated, so it that covers a lot of area. It's a little less. You're a little less able to define that sort of thing. The trade winds, though, the prevailing trades will blow the whole area over us over the next few days.
And that's why we're going to have rain. So umbrella in the car and indoor party plans this weekend. 8:16. That's news and weather together on The Point.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Portions of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant. They never close, as in always open, ready to serve you your favorites anytime, day or night. And you can, if your favorite is a breakfast and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they'll fix you a breakfast. If your favorite is fried chicken and it's 7 o'clock in the morning, you get fried chicken. It's the way they do things over at King's Restaurant. Always open, always local.
How about when we lend you money for your home, we pay for your appraisal? That's right. When we make you a loan, we'll pay for the actual cost of your standard appraisal up to $1,500. Add that to our super low rates, and you'll see why so many people are coming to Bank Pacific for their home loan. So join them by joining us, Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply.
Portions of the program also brought to you by APL, that's American President Lines, shipping the future.
Morco Equipment, located on Ipoh Road, Tamuning, is a heavy equipment dealership and was established on Guam in 1990. Morco Equipment is now an employee-owned company. Morco represents 23 heavy equipment manufacturers and supports those products on Guam with sales, rental, parts, and service. The Morco Equipment rental fleet now comprises of 200 machines. Morco also offers an on-site diesel delivery service and Trashco Guam, a roll-off trash container service. If you're interested in joining the Morco ESOP ownership team, find out more on their website at morcoequipment.com.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk,
that matters.
Indeed. And a couple of notes here, even though it's not traffic time. Traffic on Route 8, if you are headed towards 8, 10, and 16, is building up right now. In fact, it's slowing down in that direction. Continues to be building in the direction that will take you to the one good intersection into Teads. And further southbound, as you get close to Cars Plus, you might see some action on that particular roadway at that intersection. And can't tell if there's an accident or whether it's just a whole bunch of cars trying to make it, not through the merge, because you get a feeling like you're supposed to merge, but you don't have to, and that always freaks me out and slows me down. It's still in my mind a new intersection. I don't go through there often enough to be able to say this is exactly how it works.
Because that far lane, you think that you have to merge over.
Well, you know, it's got that median, and it's got a lane room in the median for a whole other lane, and I'm going, well, why don't they use that? We got all that. There's all this road there, and I'm thinking,
I want to change. By the way, since we're on it, I want to change that. If you're trying to leave the airport and you're headed like towards, Teedson.
Yes.
Like you're going on that 2-lane, one way in, one way out road.
I hate that.
Between the fences.
I hate that. That was an afterthought.
But when you're curving up.
Yeah.
And that's a stop sign there. That should be a yield. I don't need people. You don't need to be stopping there.
No, you know why? You know why they have it like that?
Why?
Because the Guam International Airport police need to make some money every once in a while, so they put a stop sign.
Try
there.
hiding.
They put it. No, they do. This is the way they've done it, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Everybody knows exactly what you're talking about. And so here's the deal: is it's a stop sign, and they will from time to time hide on the other side over at that other lot, so you can't see them. But somebody is watching. And they'll go, oh, Blake made a California stop. Blake made California stop, and California stop is still.
Well, I stopped going that way because it angers me so much. So I'll give my money to the Tumon precinct.
Like that. Hey, guess what?
Make it a yield.
It's time for sports with Blake. But as I say, that entire area there, that was all an afterthought. It's always, it was never designed that way because there was never really a design for it. You got to remember that up until 1995. That was Naval Air Station,
right? Yeah,
that's Naval Air Station. And if the only people that were coming out of there were people that were living on and working on Naval Air Station. It wasn't the 20,000 car a day throughput that it is now.
Yeah.
And so it was designed, and coming out of the old airport, but it was designed to handle just a little bit of traffic now moving through the edge of the new airport and then meeting up with Route 10A, and 10A is another one of those fairly recent, in my mind, fabrications of a roadway, nice and straight, and it just starts to snag up when you start making that turn into Teedson or the turn into the airport and vice versa. And so what we need to do is go in there with some heavy equipment and widen it, make new lanes, and make it accommodate for the traffic situations that we have in 2018. But I digress. There's supposed to be some conversation about sports. What do we got today?
We've got a couple things. Now, I was watching a, Instagram story. I trying to get my streams in order here. Instagram was the platform. The Instagram story, and I don't know the final score, so if anybody has that, you're more than welcome to pass it on to us. But I know that the IIAAG semis between the Indy Lady Royals and the Simon Sanchez Sharks went on at GFA. They were the first game, kicked off right around sunset, a little bit before. And when I saw the last story, it was 2-0. And I know that Indy advanced. So I don't know if the final score was 2-0, if that's where they ended it, but I do know that Notre Dame did get the win.
Okay,
and they were up 2-0.
All right, I'm gonna keep an eye on the Facebook because maybe Shawnee's listening and has the numbers.
Yeah,
that could help.
That's actually what it is now. So Sanchez not allowing easy shots. 2-0. Then it just says Indy moves on to the finals from the story I'm watching. In the other game,
if you're going to make stories on social media, you need to finish them.
Especially if you're an outlet, if you're a reporting outlet. Elsewhere, GW taking on JFK to round out the championship game. Now JFK came in. They were pretty hot starting off the season, but they started to wobble just a tad bit. And GW helmed by Helena Garcia, who made a strong case for MVP. But didn't get it. They win 4-0. So it's going to be Indy Lady Royals, led by the very young junior Brianne LG, taking on Helena Garcia and the mighty gold and purple GW Lady Geckos.
This is going to be nice.
It's going to be this weekend down at over at GFA.
Okay, rain or shine?
Rain or shine.
Okay.
I believe so. Unless it's lightning.
Well, because the weather guy is talking about raining, and thunderstorms are in the forecast at least for today.
Yeah. But they got the turf out there, so they're good. They don't worry about mud or
no. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because they're playing at GFA. Yeah, so they got the
Yes.
turf. Yeah, so they can play as long as it's not lightning too bad. You know what I mean? Because that obviously poses a threat. But I think I've been out there. Yeah, I've been out there in the rain in GFA.
Should be like a handicap.
Yeah, watching get slick.
8:23, and something worth talking about here, and it's even captured the imagination of the great Carl with a K. Pangilinan.
Yes,
is the 100th anniversary of the show is coming up. I'm sorry, not the 100th anniversary. The 100th episode.
I heard rumblings of that yesterday in the hallway.
None of us are that old here, but so the 100th episode of the Ray Gibson Show is coming up, and we'll consider it some kind of a milestone. So we need to come up with giveaways, and I'm going to theme out the show for hundreds. So we're going to give away 100 of this, 100 of that. I mean, I've mentioned it on the radio, and I'm going to do it until they capitulate and say, yes, Ray, we'll give you 100 gallons of gasoline from 76 Circle K.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good. When is the 100th show?
June the 20th. Okay. Is the date for the 100th anniversary, 100th show, the 100th episode of the Ray Gibson Show. So I've come up with a couple of ideas. I was thinking of like 100 minutes at like the best spa, a massage, 100-minute massage at like the best one.
By the way, some of these and the ones on the up and up, by the way, not the ones that are open 24/7, but the other ones, like the legit ones.
Well, what if you want to get a massage at 3 o'clock in the morning?
No, there's nothing against that. I'm just saying you got to watch out.
There's like daytimes. There's people that work in the overnight hours and might want to get a massage at 5 when they get off work.
That's true, but and I got
it's like the guy that delivers the newspapers for us at the Post.
Regardless,
that's just specialty in massage, right?
Regardless of where you go, okay. I'm not harping on the type of the parlor. I'm just harping on the fact that I've been charged extra just because they thought that I didn't live here.
What?
I went in. I'm not joking. So I went in for I believe my other half's birthday and got her a gift certificate from to get a massage. And she was like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome. They charge you this much?" And I was like, "No, they charge me like $20 extra." She was like, "Oh, they think you don't live here." I'm like, "But I showed my ID." They're like, I don't know. Guess you got to be darker. I don't know.
Wow.
That's what she told me. Verbatim.
So
she looked me in the eye, told me I needed to be
discrimination
darker.
or something like
that's
that.
what she told me.
Yeah, you need to hit the beach, bro.
I know. Yeah,
but now it's lousy now because it's going to be all rainy and everything.
But I guess they charged me this weekend. They charged me like $70, and she was like, "Oh, they normally charge me like 50, 49, 50." So watch out.
I'm against that. I don't like that, and I think
it was a place down in Tumon too. So like I said, there could be tourist prices, could be local prices. I don't know how they determine that. But I came in looking like I do, so clearly I'm not in the service.
They probably flipped the fickle coin of fate when you
might have. And I went in there early.
Or maybe
too.
they thought you were asking for a happy ending.
No. Well, that's the thing. If that's the case, I was on the up and up.
Get one.
I was on the up and up because I walked in there, I think they opened at like 10 in the morning. I was there by like 10:30 a.m. on like a Thursday morning. So it wasn't like I'm like sneaking in there smelling the booze at like 1 or something. It was during the day.
Again,
they were pouring coffee. They offered me coffee.
You're making so many generalities like it's bad to drink during the day.
Depends on when you get off. Depends on when you get off.
Depends on what time you wake up.
I'm just saying
in the
I
morning.
hadn't yet gotten there yet. I'm just saying, I came from here, so obviously stone cold sober, a little coffee jazzed up, went straight down there.
So you say.
Went straight down. I don't have the time.
Asking for a friend
to get out of here.
I think you've said enough. I think we better. If we keep going, there's going to be untoward, and we've got other stuff to get to this morning. So I was gonna ask you about Deadpool, but I don't think we can beat the funny that we just had. So we'll talk about Deadpool 2 tomorrow and whether or not it's something that I've got to go brave a crowd to go and watch.
You seen the first one?
Yes.
Okay. I have not seen the second one yet, but I think it's worth it. I'm hearing good things.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we can translate into some conversation in the morning show tomorrow. You've got a morning show to get to.
I do.
You can hear Blake playing records on Star 101 all morning long from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. And you can also watch him do his thing on the star101.gu website, where they've got a feed like we do with the videos and all of that stuff. So hang out with Blake on that radio station. Otherwise, news, information, discussion will continue after these.
Valley Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Valley Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Valley Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Valley Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
What you say, baby? I got a little beauty pageant going on here in the Facebook Live. I'm just going to say good morning to Anna Clark, Pat Antolon, Trisha Cabrera, Janelyn Leon Guerrero, Maria Hernandez, Paris Mendiola are absolutely prettying the place up here this morning.
You never let me look at the pictures.
I'm delighted. I'm delighted that you ladies are there. Also prettying the place up, Charles Eckert is on, and Ronick Fodzy. Ronick Fodzy, that's my bro. Blake Plays Records is what I said. They're playing the traffic music behind me, and I guess I better scare up some traffic information. It looks like the road that will take you from Route 8 onto Route 16 looks like we've got a little bit of a buildup going on there and slowing down as there's more than one car that's trying to get through Mochechie and onto Route 16. Route 16 onto that roadway is also a little bit snagged, just a couple extra cars there. That might slow you down over at the light, and it says right here in front of the Department of Public Works and radio station 93.3 The Point, looks like there's some traffic slowing down southbound on Marine Corps Drive. There are other places where the traffic is building, but it doesn't look like there's anything that's going to cause you any panic or more serious delays. I'm not seeing any accidents or anything like that, or stuck lights and that kind of thing. So that's this morning's Right Now traffic on The Point.
From September 17 to September 19, 2018, the Archdiocese of Hagåtña will be conducting settlement conferences with victims of clergy abuse. If you have a claim and want to meaningfully participate in the September settlement conferences, call Hope and Healing Guam at 1-888-649-5288 before August 1st, 2018. All conversations with Hope and Healing Guam are confidential. If you have filed a lawsuit against the Archdiocese, you are already included in this settlement process.
Portions of the program. What? Wait. I'm sorry, you pointed to me. I thought we had to do a commercial. You want me to do a commercial for somebody? Yeah, let's do it at Micronesia Mall. Micronesia Mall, they're having a drawing this weekend. What are they giving away? What kind of automobile is it going to be?
They're giving away a 350Z. They're doing that Saturday at 2 p.m., but you must be present to win.
I've participated in those before. It's absolutely crazy. You're up on the stage, and there are literally thousands of people in front of you. And for a 350Z?
A 350Z? Are you kidding?
Better believe everybody's going to be showing up. Hey, it's 8:30 in the morning, and we need to get our last look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post on the air. We'll proceed with that. And Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post today, 41-year-old Jeffrey Guerrero Cruz in custody on allegations that he sexually assaulted 4 minors. According to the court documents, 3 girls aged 8, 11, and 12, and a 7-year-old boy have all alleged that Cruz molested them on various occasions over the past year and a half. The alleged abuse came to light after the 8-year-old girl told police that she awoke to Cruz sexually molesting her. She ran to her relative's home and reported the incident. Cruz has been arrested and charged with 7 counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct. Police are asking for the public's help in finding 2 men wanted for questioning in an ongoing investigation into a series of burglaries that authorities believe are all related. GPD spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau has identified the 2 men as 26-year-old Gerald Joseph Alvarez and 27-year-old Jeremy Allen Evaristo. The public advised not to approach the individuals if they see them, but to call police immediately. You can contact GPD Dispatch at 472-8911. DOC Director Tony Lamarena unveiling nearly $3 million in upgrades at the adult correctional facility in Manilao yesterday. Among the improvements, 69 cell doors replaced in the maximum security unit, as well as a new security system that includes new cameras covering 90% of DOC, and a recreation area also added to the maximum security unit. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 8:32, and that's iConnect time. iConnect wants you to connect longer for less with their incredible push-to-talk or mobile plans.
Now you can choose your favorite Nissan rides and 30 flyaways on Philippine Airlines when you play Micronesia Mall's Your Best Choice giveaway. To play, present mall receipts to win a new Versa Note SR, the Crossover Rogue Sport SV, the Heritage Edition 370Z, or you can choose a tough Nissan truck. Plus, there are great instant prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker. Win more cars, trips, and prizes when you play Micronesia Mall's Your Best Choice giveaway.
The drawing for the Nissan 350Z is Saturday at 2 p.m. You must be present to win.
Is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igumamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
All right, this is going to end up being the last look at traffic. It doesn't look like there's really anything worth panicking about. It's just traffic building in a bunch of places, and I attribute that maybe to everybody running a hair later than usual this morning. Southbound Route 8 towards Mighty is a little bit busier than normal. Northbound traffic around that area and on your way past Mong Mong and the Cars Plus area a little bit heavier than normal. Traffic still a little bit backing up on Army Drive headed towards the intersection at there and 16. But it should be clear once you're on the roadway. It doesn't even look like it's snagging up over by the airport. Right here in front of the radio station, traffic a little bit slower than normal. A few more cars in and out of the Kmart intersection here this morning. It's 8:34. That's what traffic looks like here on The Point.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese, Turkey, Bacon, and Guac, Rotisserie-style Chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
You'll check me out, the realist. And we'll throw in just word at the end of that, right? Just every once in a while. Hi, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. This is the Ray Gibson Show. And you know, it's just us now. As Kevin has gone to his real-life job over at the Guam Daily Post, it's just Mike and I looking at weather maps or each other going through some of the issues that they're floating around. I might hear from Will Castro before the end of the hour. He's got some things that they're doing with the Guam Maps app that they have. It's probably the most functional thing I've ever seen out of the government of Guam in the last 20 years, just because it works. It's that app, and I forget the actual name of it. I'll look again in a minute. But it's that app, and it's the idea that I can renew my car's registration online.
Yeah.
Which was a very, very interesting feature that they've got over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. And I love it because it keeps me out of lines, right? So online versus inline. Yeah, I'll take online any day of the week. Interesting conversations that we have been having. And my God, it's been, an hour and a half since I've mentioned Troy Torres' name. And it came up apparently in a meeting of the Guam Election Commission. With me on the line, Maria Pangilinan from the GEC. Good morning, Maria.
Half a day, Ray.
Half a day, and all night. It's like that. But I just wanted to find out if you could give me a situation report, if you will, on the meeting that took place with the Guam Election Commission last night.
Yes, we started promptly, and the issues were addressed. The Guam Election Commission is working on getting some information out, but we're diligently looking at reports so that we can report out later on.
Now, any of these reports have anything to do with the reason and the disposition of why the Guam Election Commission went into their executive session?
Yes.
Yes.
So it was announced that we were going to go into executive session because of an item on the agenda.
Okay. Wait. No, I'm talking about the one from a couple of weeks ago. From their last meeting. Has that been concluded to the satisfaction of the commission, and will it become the subject of a report?
That is still, they're still looking at it, and they're still working on it. The commission is still working on it.
Okay, so and so we don't have any guidance from legal on how to I guess resolve that problem finally.
Which one are we talking about?
The first one. We'll talk the not Troy Torres one.
Okay, so that one we have legal counsel is working with us already to address the issue.
Okay, and will it have any impact on anybody's race? Will or desire to be on the ballot in the upcoming election?
That's not for me to decide.
Yeah, no. I talked to the legal, and he said it's okay. You can just tell me whatever you want.
I don't know.
Okay, and so I'll take that. I understand the desire to want to maintain the cloak of secrecy around it, if as it might be a discussion of a legal, maybe even criminal investigation. I don't know, but it's certainly something that you guys have been real hush hush about. So I was kind of hoping that we'd get an answer on that today, but it doesn't look like it, huh?
Yeah, Ray. Our code is such that it with that type of investigation, it has to be confidential.
Oh, well, I see now. It makes my mind wander on the possibilities of what it could possibly be, and who might be involved. Does it have anything to do with liberties that were taken with certain financial reports and things like that? So that is among the questions. Now, you did go into executive session yesterday based on note or accusations that were made by Troy Torres, correct?
That's not there. Yes. It was announced that they were going into executive session.
And did they come out of executive session with a report based on that, or is this is one of those where legal counsel has to look at it again?
Legal counsel has to look at it.
Okay. Now, I understand in this case there is a timeline.
Actually, legal counsel will have to let us know that. It's a Ray. It's a.
I mean, the accusations are already out there that a commission member, Jadine Tuncap, it looks like there was an interference that she did with an unnamed member of the Rodriguez camp that made the threat that Dennis Rodriguez better vote the right way on a particular measure over at the legislature, or the Cruz contract was never going to see the light of day. So the accusation is already out there. It's not like that needs to be shielded at all. I guess the issue is that the Guam Election Commission doesn't have a procedure in place to conduct an investigation against the commission member.
Well, on top of all of that, the commission, according to the law, it's not the commission that removes the commissioner. It's the Guam legislature.
Does she need to be removed?
No, but if that is if you look at the report, yeah, and so it's the legal counsel's guidance is going to come to us as to whether it's inside the Guam Election Commission's area of authority or if it's not.
Okay, so if it is, then I would presume that the commission could, I don't know, censure her or require that she make any disclosures or require that she build the bamboo wall between that conversation and anything else that's going to be happening. Is that possible?
I don't. It's possible, but at this point, the guidance will come from the legal counsel on how it works.
Who gets to conduct the investigation on this? I mean, just that in and of itself, the allegations that Jadine was working at the behest of the administration have been denied by the administration. But Dennis Rodriguez last week came out with a statement that said, "Yeah, it happened."
We're anxiously awaiting legal counsel's.
I'm gonna anxiously await it as well. I mean, but there needs to be some kind of evidence. There is an unnamed member of the Rodriguez camp that was apparently approached, and in this case, this individual apparently would be the legal the smoking gun the literal smoking gun on this story. So he would need to make himself or herself known to the Guam Election Commission and either back up or refute the claim that has been made by Dennis Rodriguez and Troy Torres.
If it's in the mandate of the Guam Election Commission, the Guam Election Commission will do something about it. And so from the Guam Election Commission standpoint at this time, we just need to make sure that we're doing it the way the law says it's supposed to be done.
Right, and I don't know that there's chapter and verse on exactly what something like this would happen. How does the commission, if we do find out that there's guilt, what is it that the Guam Election Commission can do? If you're saying that they might not be able to remove her if she's found guilty of these allegations.
Well, and before that, and before that, Ray, the other thing is who's to find her or who's to do the investigation. All that we need to clarify if that's within the scope of the Guam Election Commission.
Well, has an actual law been broken?
We don't know.
Yeah, so I guess I need to go back to the beginning. So what's the point of having an investigation if no law has been broken? Can Jadine Tuncap, even in her capacity as a private citizen, go and make threats to somebody? I mean, I'm trying to think of what the Guam Code annotated has been violated that the guys
and more than likely, and if it is outside Title III of the Guam Code, then.
So, yeah, she might have said something untoward to somebody, and it got back to Dennis. And, wow, what a terrible thing for Jadine to say, but people say terrible things all the time.
I have to say, in all my years working with the vice chair, there's excellent boardroom decorum, and she conducts herself well with the Guam Election Commission, and has done. All of them have been very. It's really interesting. Not interesting, but it's so rewarding from my standpoint as the executive director that there is this bipartisan commission, and throughout my years here, they have been very cohesive.
Oh, to be sure. And I've been, a student of the Guam Election Commission since even before you had gotten there. And frankly, it's usually one of those places where things run rather smoothly. So it's interesting to see in such a short amount of time an executive session that we cannot know anything about from the taxpayer perspective. And then this new thing here where it's difficult to determine even what the nature of the wrongdoing was and whether or not that is within the jurisdiction or the purview of the Guam Election Commission. So I still keep wondering why this was brought to you. I get it that it was a commission member that this complaint is being made primarily against, who also holds a position at the administration. But okay, what law got broke?
That's for you to find out.
I get it. You're getting dinged on the online thing for not giving me any comments and having to move on to the next questions.
Yeah,
but
I apologize. And not. I guess we'll let the work take its course. The guidance from the legal counsel will come to us, and we will act on it expediently.
Okay, now expediently doesn't mean we got to wait until next month's meeting, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so if your legal counsel gets an answer in the next day or two, perhaps the commission can meet again, discuss the findings of the legal counsel, and then determine what to do.
All based upon what the legal counsel says.
Okay. Well, whoever your legal counsel is, whatever you're paying him, I'm sure it's a lot. So keep him under a little bit of pressure here to move forward on this. If for no other reason than to clear the air over at the Guam Election Commission as we move forward with the primary election, which is less than 100 days away.
That's correct.
I got you. It's always fun talking with you. A little frustrating these days.
I apologize.
You don't need to apologize. I mean, I get the nature of the job. There are things that you can say and things that you can't say, and I don't want to jeopardize anything that is going on with the executive committee. Just to satisfy my own curiosity, I think we've got a pretty good idea of what those allegations are that drew them into the executive session. We just like some kind of confirmation. Anyway, we'll work on that in the coming days.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. You have a fantastic day. Maria Pangilinan from the Guam Election Commission. As I said, a little bit more frustrating than usual these days, just on the confidential nature of some of the things that they've got to deal with. And, as probing as I want to be, I hate the idea that I got to do 20 questions to get back to no comment. But, that's the job, guys. Sometimes it's a little bit trickier than others. And sometimes it is not as cut and dry as it is in other places and with other issues. 888-8255. Again, that number is 888-8255, 848 in the morning. And a couple of interesting things. I was talking about how much money we're not getting in taxes from the Department of Revenue and Taxation. I made the point that the total unrealized revenues just for the 4 years that were the subject of the audit, $40,198,964 in taxes that are uncollected at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. And if you were one of those people who said, wait a second, the government's taking it out of my hide now because they're charging me an extra 1% in the business privilege tax, and even if they change their mind tomorrow, even if the legislature voted today and got the bill out to the governor, and the governor backed up on his position and said, whoa, what did I do here? And repealed the law that created this additional 1% increase in the business privilege tax, guess what? The price ain't going to go down. The prices aren't going to go down. I would bet that there would be very few places that are looking at what you're capable of paying now and then rolling it back to what it was before, because now they know that what you'll pay for a cup of coffee, what you'll pay for Slim Jims and Mountain Dews and whatever else it is that is affected by these price increases. So don't anticipate those things are going to be going down. But that idea out there that maybe there was more that could be done over at the Department of Revenue and Tax to collect some of these dollars, $40 million, is kind of an eye opener. However, and this needs to be pointed out, that is the total number of unrealized revenues. The number that they apply to revenue leakage, that is uncollected or delinquencies, the unbilled John Doe properties, the unpaid escape assessments, the unbilled and unassessed CLTC properties, unassessed condos and townhomes, and questionable taxable value reductions, only amounts to $18,853. Well, let's try to follow along here. So that means that foregone revenues, and I'll explain what those are in a second, account for better than half of that $40 million. So this is what the OPA is saying, and it doesn't surprise me that she puts this in here. The foregone revenues are generally credits or exemptions that have been provided for by the government of Guam, the legislature and the governors that have signed off on these measures. If you are a senior citizen, hey, I'm one of those. Then when I filed the taxes on the house for this year, because it was my first year as a senior citizen, I got a pretty cozy credit on that. Thank you very much, Government of Guam. The senior citizen credits amount to $6,644,000. There's a primary home exemption. That accounts for almost $10 million worth of these foregone revenues at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. A through F exemptions, that's government, religious, farms. There's almost $4 million there, almost $1 million in tax abatements for qualifying certificates, citizens with disability credits, $169,000. So our total foregone revenue is $21.33 million. That's not the Department of Revenue and Taxation's failures. That's the generosity of the government of Guam, of the legislature, of the governors, like I said, that have signed off on these measures over the years. So the public auditor, and she harps, and it's a point that she and I disagree on all the time, because I like exemptions. because I'm a taxpayer. I look for every opportunity not to give the government of Guam money. She's the public auditor. She looks for every opportunity that there is for me and you to give the government of Guam money. Why do we have this exemption? Why do we have the Dave Santos Act? Why do we have this, that, the other? You know, was it political expediency? She is making a recommendation. As even more revenues are foregone due to credits, exemptions, and abatements, we urge the legislature to review these benefits. For example, over 5,000 homes are not assessed any tax. There are 25,000 homeowners who pay less than $100 in taxes every year. And representative, speak at the side of the table of those 25,000 homeowners. Thank you very much. I appreciate the exemption. I appreciate the credit. And there's going to be some yahoo, and I'll hang up on them if they call, that says, well, you know, the Guam has the lowest tax rates, real property tax rates anywhere in the country. And I'll go, yeah, that's good. Lucky us. How about that? I'm not of the mind that we need to examine all of these things. I like the idea. I will put it down as credits and exemptions for living here in the tropics at the edge of the supply chain for virtually everything, at the edge of the supply chain for the Jones Act items that need to get shipped in here and the additional costs that go along with that. I will say that that is the credit that I pay for living with, how do I want to say this, for living under the rules of the federal government of the United States that make it so that we've got an EITC that we've got to pay for. That is the credit that I get for living in an island that is subject to compact migration, right, that we are not compensated for fairly by the federal government. So we've got to pay all of those bills ourselves. I deserve a credit somewhere. And if the credit is going to be coming to me on exemptions and real property tax credits, things like that, well, then so be it. So be it. But I don't know, with as many times as the OPA has brought up the idea of the legislature reviewing credits, exemptions, and abatements, they almost never take up the challenge. I don't recall them ever going, you know what? Doris is right. We got to do something about this. We got to do something about it now. I don't think I've ever seen the legislature spring into that kind of action. 8:55 now, and we got some more news from, where's that, Fox News coming up? Fox News Live in just a few minutes. And in between here and there is no doubt going to be a conversation about President Donald Trump and Kim, what's the guy's name? Kim, the North Korean guy, Pyongyang Pete. And there has been no, as far as I know, official notification from Pyongyang that the summit is off. There's rattling going on.
Well, he's just squirming for position.
Probably, yeah.
Well,
it's tactical.
That's exactly what he's doing.
It's all tactical. You got to remember, these guys are communists. That's how they think, those commie reds.
Yeah.
That's how they think. They think in terms of tactics and strategies to continue to make their point. Remember that we still got the hostages. Right. We still had Kim holding hands with the guy over at the Peace House at the 38th parallel. So they're making all of the right steps. They knew that this exercise was going to be coming up. Yeah. We do it every year. And so they're just trying to position a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe he wants to have a couple of girls sent over to the room when they finally get to Singapore.
Yeah, I heard something on the other Gibson show this morning before ours. It was an interesting point of view in that once Trump gave in to China over this technological company that was having some sort of issues, and I'm not really up to speed on that, but Kim is actually not a dummy. He's quite astute, and he saw, wow, you know, they kind of buckled under China. Maybe I can push a little bit here.
Yeah. I mean, it's entirely possible and very, very likely. So, you know, play a little bit more around and see what you might be able to get out of this. They've already agreed to dismantling their nukes.
I mean, what's the worst can happen? I mean, what? The sanctions continue?
Okay, so the Singapore deal is off, and that gives us a chance to go back to a Guam summit.
Yeah.
In my mind, I mean, if you're asking what I think the upside is, that's the upside. Oh, Singapore's not going to happen. What's his name is going to, Pompeo's going to have to go fly back and meet him again. We'll do some jet set diplomacy, and then they'll say, okay, Singapore's off, but we'll get together next week on Guam. because Ray Gibson said that would be a brilliant, beyond brilliant idea.
Well, it really would be.
I know. It's for all of the reasons that I've already outlined many, many times in the program, and if I've got to kill another couple of minutes, I might do it again. But the interesting thing now is there is a letter that has been sent to Chair Reese Anderson, who is the chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee. And it is undersigned by governors of the United States of America supporting the nomination of President Donald J. Trump by members of the U.S. Congress to receive the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize for his transformative efforts to bring peace to the Korean Peninsula after more than 60 years of conflict and division.
You don't get a peace prize for effort, man. You get a peace prize for accomplishment. It hasn't happened yet.
Well,
Let him do it
take a look at some of the other Nobel Prizes that have gone out over the years and go, yeah, all right, so tell me again about the accomplishment on that. I can write a justification memo for anything. You know, the indictment of a ham sandwich, as they say in a legal anybody can write that justification. And I think this one here summarizes it well. After nearly 2 decades of gridlock and global anxiety surrounding North Korea's nuclear program, we are now, at last, on the precipice of peace. There is but one new variable: Donald J. Trump and his successful policy of security through strength. There is no one more deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize. Disagree all you want. You know what? You're spitting in the face of Governor Eddie Jerome Bosacalvo by disagreeing. You're just the smug way you're shaking your head and rolling your eyes. It's like spitting in Eddie's face, Mike.
I can't breathe. I'm laughing so hard.
Well, that's the idea, friends. I've told you this before. I live to make him laugh. I live to make Kevin Kerrigan laugh, and I'm just absolutely delighted that I've got a snicker out of you. He's laughing so much he's got to turn his microphone off. The question that I have, though, because it makes it sound like it's a big deal and everybody signed off on this. We, the undersigned governors of the United States of America. It wasn't undersigned by all of the governors in the United States of America. Frankly, there's only 7 signatures on the page. There's 7 out of what, 55 if you include the territories? I think we need to get a few more signatures on this petition to the Honorable Berit Reese Anderson at the Norwegian Nobel Committee before he takes it seriously, including the bespitted face of Eddie Bosacalvo. Just the way you disagree with him. That's so funny to me. What? Look, oh my God, it's 9 o'clock. Here's Fox News.
There will be no indictment of the president. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's what President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is telling Fox News. That's what Special Counsel Robert Mueller has told the president's legal team.
Giuliani says that Mueller doesn't really have any choice. He has to follow the findings of a 1999 Clinton-era DOJ memo. Now, that's not to say that Mueller still couldn't find some evidence of wrongdoing that Congress could act on, but the president's legal team doesn't appear concerned. Giuliani telling Fox News a short time ago, quote, "This case is essentially over. They're just in denial."
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. Tomorrow marks 1 year after Mueller's appointment to oversee the FBI investigation into allegations of collusion between Russian officials and members of the Trump campaign. So far, 19 people have been charged, including 4 Trump campaign advisors and 3 Russian companies. This as the Senate Intelligence Committee saying it agrees with the 2017 assessment by intelligence agencies that Russia intervened in the 2016 election to help then-candidate Trump. 2 cousins accused in the brutal killing of 4 men outside of Philadelphia last year could end up pitted against each other in court. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more live.
Lisa, Sean Kratz stunned prosecutors, the victims' families, and his own lawyer by rejecting a plea deal at the last minute. He was looking at a maximum of 118 years behind bars. Prosecutors will now seek the death penalty for the 21-year-old. Kratz's cousin Cosmo DiNardo pleading guilty Wednesday to all 4 murders in exchange for a life sentence. Authorities saying DiNardo lured the men to his family's farm under the guise of selling them marijuana. Police found their burned bodies buried on the property after a 5-day search. The victims' families filing lawsuits against DiNardo's parents. Lisa?
Steve, officials in Fairfield, California say 10 children found living in a home in filthy conditions were punched, hit, shot with BBs, and waterboarded. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Manila, Osaka, Fukuoka.
Dreaming about your next vacation? With the FHB United Mileage Plus credit card, you can get 10% off on United Airlines flights from Guam to Manila, Osaka, or Fukuoka when you book your ticket by May 31. Book your flight on United.com at a United City ticket office or your local travel agency using promo code FHB18M. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 18 for more details. Terms and conditions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Morico Equipment on Ipao Road is expanding. Morico now requires a dynamic individual with proven sales skills to join their heavy equipment parts sales team to do outside parts sales to new and existing customer accounts. A commission package, Morico vehicle, phone, and laptop are on offer. While sales experience is preferred, applicants must be highly self-motivated with excellent communication and time management skills and able to use Microsoft Word and Excel. Apply on MoricoEquipment.com. Morico Equipment LLC is now an employee-owned company.
Michigan State University will pay hundreds of millions of dollars to settle a class action lawsuit involving sex abuse victims.
Michigan State University says it's reached a $500 million settlement with women and girls who were sexually abused by the school's former sports doctor, Larry Nasser, who also worked for USA Gymnastics and who's been imprisoned for the rest of his life in what's become the worst sex abuse case in sports history. That's also led to firings or resignations of top MSU, USA Gymnastics, and other officials. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Nearly 24 more cases of food poisoning linked to romaine lettuce grown in Arizona have been reported. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention saying the total number of people sickened by E. coli is now 172 across 32 states. The internet divided again, this time over an audio clip.
Remember the dress controversy that divided social media? Was it blue and black or white and gold? Well, here we go again. An audio clip is going viral online because some people hear the word Yanny while others hear the word Laurel.
Laurel, Laurel.
The internet's so divided it's become the #1 trending topic on Twitter. One person tweets, "It's Laurel. This is not up for discussion." But another says, "I'm the only Yanny in a house full of Laurels." House Speaker Paul Ryan even weighing in.
I'd like to declare something that is just so obvious. It is Laurel and not Yanny.
The science behind this has to do with how your ear processes pitch and frequency. Carly Shimkus, Fox News.
A Norman Rockwell painting at the center of a contentious legal dispute over a Massachusetts museum's decision to sell it will be available for public viewing again. The Norman Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge announced Shuffleton's Barber Shop will go on display there June 9th. The painting was one of 2 Rockwell paintings. The nearby Berkshire Museum said it needed to sell to stay afloat. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Where is it? 5 after 9, something like that. Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's Restaurant, serving favorites to Guam's families for over 40 years. And they're going to keep doing it, too, because they lost the keys to the front door. They can never, ever close. Check them out. It's breakfast, lunch, dinner time, always at King's Restaurant.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
MRE. Let me give you another set of initials here. APL, that's short for American President Lines. They're celebrating their 100th voyage from the mainland to Guam in a huge way. American President Lines, shipping the future.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
The Extra Point with Jerry Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Disruptive technologies, those that have the potential to bring about big changes, usually include some trade-offs between benefits and drawbacks. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we talk about how that fits with one very pressing need in Guam.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
The Coconut Wireless is back. Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show.
He says, the Coconut Wireless. You know, and there's that story in the Fox News where the guy is saying one word, and it sounds to me like he's saying Laurel, but people are hearing Yanni or something like that. And they explain that by saying, you know, these people hear different frequencies. So, I mean, depending on where your general frequency is, it might determine what it was that you were hearing. I'd almost want to find that soundbite and play it again a couple of times to see if that has if it rings true for listeners of the radio station, wherever you happen to be, or online. So I might, if it gets boring around here, and I need something to do in what I like to refer to as the small talk portion of the program. But online viewership is fantastic this morning. Lots of people on the Facebook Live Gizmo. Great to have you all there and tuned in and watching what's going on now. I got to let you know this because I love technology. Everybody that knows me knows I love technology. If you gave me something and all it had on it was a switch that turned on a light, I'd go, ooh, that's nice. That's cool. I need that. Flashlight technology still turns me on. Same thing in a car. If I buy a car and there's a switch over here somewhere that does something else elsewhere, I just go, I got to have this car. You know, my least favorite ones are like a switch that puts you in different traction mode because I can never feel the difference on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had a car with a button that it didn't turn on a turbo, but it was supposed to do something to make the ride more economical.
Okay.
But when I pressed the button, I didn't feel anything different.
Right.
So I ignored it for the entire time I owned that car. I probably put too much gasoline in it. Probably cost me, but it's just one of those things. Hey, this didn't turn me on as much as I thought it was going to. So never mind.
I had a Mitsubishi 3000 GT once.
Yeah.
Had a button on it that you could push that if you're on the highway, the rear spoiler would automatically adjust according to your speed.
Oh.
To ensure that
keep you
things
down. You keep things settled
to the ground. Yeah. And of course, I got that fast once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while. No, because it's important. You little the MG car. There's those things only weighed 30 or 40 pounds.
Well, these 3000 GTs are a little bigger, but yeah. I mean, when it says 180 on the speedometer, I mean, you got to get close.
Yeah, well, I tell you, at 180 on the speedometer, if you had wings, you would be airborne. You just pull back a little bit, and you would actually start flying.
These cars look like they
10 after 9 o'clock in the morning, and so I'm trying to remember where I was going with that thought until you interrupted me. Oh, and it had something to do with a new piece of technology that we have, something shiny. Look, a squirrel. There's a new thing I'm doing on the Facebook Live.
I saw that.
Right? And so when like Bennett Lujan Duenas typed in hi, there was a little square that pops up, a little billboard where it says Bennett Lujan Duenas says hi. Now, if you're on Facebook Live, that's not a big deal because you can see the comments as they go up and down. Right. But for people that are watching on thepoint.gu, which has an identical stream, but it doesn't have the Facebook features on it. Well, it does now. If you're watching a video on demand, and like on YouTube or Facebook again, those comments will be embedded back into the thing.
Okay,
right?
That's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. You know, Will Castro likes it. Carl with a K likes it. Will's back on. Will, if you could give me a call and let me know if that meeting that you were in is over, so we can talk about what the next iterations are going to be for the Guam Land app and conversations that apparently need to continue to happen between the guys over at Department of Land Management and the guys over at Department of Parks and Rec, the Revenue and Tax, as well as the others. Who am I thinking of? Land Management, Rev and Tax, and the Department of Administration probably needs to be wrangled in. All of those conversations. Anybody where they've got a lot of overlap on those kinds of here. Interesting. Lynn Vince Borja Polino says, I hear Yanni on TV and I hear Laurel on the internet. See, I am going to have to dig that out. And Mark Cruz says the Mitsubishi 3000 GT was a car before its time. Lots of options available first on that car. You know what, Mark? You're absolutely right on that point. I know somebody that had one of those 3000 GTs. And, it was terrible what happened to her. And I'm not going to say who. Mahi, so you're safe. You're in the clear. But she had a 3000 GT. Yeah. Awesome car.
Oh, they're great.
And I'd had the opportunity to sit in that car for a long time. You know why? Because for some reason, the radio was password enabled.
Oh, nice.
There's another one of those advanced features that they did on this car all those years ago. The radio was password protected, and nobody had the password. And it was one of those 4 or 5 digit combinations, and you could literally sit there and you probably there might still be a mechanic that's working on this that has started 0001, 0002, still not working. Keep going. Yeah,
that's just a few combinations there.
But it was one of my. I remember admiring that car, and you're right. It was a little bit heavier than 30 pounds. I was thinking of a different car, but it reminds me of, and Mark will remember this one as well. Was it a 92 or 93 Toyota Supra that I had? And that was. You want to talk about a great midlife crisis car. And I want to say I was a 31 or 32 or something like that at the time. And I absolutely loved that car. And I got a girlfriend to match it, which was which was an interesting thing. I'm just playing around. We got to accessorize the vehicle. You know, I had the little bra in the front of it, and you got the all of the speckly things on the inside. You got to have a girlfriend that will match the car. Anyway, so thanks for letting me go back down that the memory lane thing. So, again, you can, as Lynn Vince Borja Polino was typing in, I hear Yanni on TV and I hear Laurel on the internet, that pops up on a little thing down at the corner of the screen. So you can see the comments as they come up. So the other thing I was going to lament on again was the fact that I have not had a lot of time to talk about Troy Torres. On the radio much today. It's one of those things where the conversations keep going from the sublime to the ridiculous, and now we go with the Guam Election Commission that now has to hear about Troy's complaints that Jadine Tuncap said a bad thing to a friend of Dennis Rodriguez, and it got back to Dennis, and now they're going to have some kind of investigation. Well, somebody is going to have some kind of investigation, no? I mean, we just can't let this go unanswered. But who? Will it be the commission? Has a law been broken? And I don't know. And you guys are smarter than me. And so if something untoward has happened other than that, that we still cannot substantiate, we've got different views on this. The administration said didn't happen. It's an out-and-out lie, fabrication. Dennis Rodriguez himself now says it happened. Oh, that's interesting. So it seems to me that the only one that can vet this situation is the as-yet unnamed Dennis Rodriguez supporter who was contacted, who was reached out to by Jadine, allegedly. Well, let's try this out as a concept. Why couldn't Jadine go directly to Dennis Rodriguez? What's the point of the subterfuge? What is the point of the mystery here of the dead drop contact? Like we're doing spy stuff.
I think Troy is banking on the fact that most everyday people don't realize that this is actually how government is done in a democracy anyway. And he's hoping to maybe stir up a little something, and maybe, you never know. Well, when you stir up the hornet's nest, sometimes you find something extra.
Yeah,
maybe he's hoping.
It's still waiting for, asking for $1 million in an apology. It would surprise me if that happened. So the other thing is a complaint that went out yesterday, because I was lamenting, and I think they heard it, was whether or not the government of Guam has issued millions and millions of dollars in bad checks. Is the Pope a Catholic? Is the question. Cash management. You need to get your paychecks out, and you're sitting on some collections that you think you're going to get over the weekend. So I write a check to Michael, and Michael goes to the bank and cashes it. But it's Saturday and Sunday I've got between the time I write that check and the time that the bank actually goes to the account to get the money. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think they were counting on the float there, is the way that works. And if the government of Guam is guilty of it, you cannot possibly imagine, I'm sure, the number of other businesses that might be living at the edge that are guilty of the same thing. You know, and you got the owners of these companies going, man, I wrote that check out to the employees. Please, God, don't let it bounce. Don't let it bounce. And sometimes it does, and it is, I don't think, very remarkable. Is this going to be something is this going to be the coffin in the nail of the administration that gets them in trouble? Or is it going to be just another thing for the government of Guam to make a statement about? And the statement from the government of Guam was, we continue to refute the misinformation put out by the political operative of a gubernatorial campaign. You know, when they write that, it sounds like it's present tense.
Yeah.
Do you get that feeling?
Oh, yeah. And again, it goes right in with what I suggested all along. This is something that's ongoing, and regardless of all this past talk, this is about now.
A gubernatorial campaign who is admittedly undergoing drug therapy and subject in an ongoing criminal investigation. We wish Troy the best as he goes through this therapy, and continue to pray for him during this rough period. And I keep waiting for that to get a little heavier handed, and maybe based on whatever allegations are going to be made today, it will. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed that there will be more from the Gospel of Troy.
I know what you want.
What do I want?
You want one of them to go on to PNC or KUAM and say something like, Troy should just. Oh wait.
No, you got to make that louder.
Yeah, Troy should just off.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
you want him to do that.
Probably not going to happen.
No,
because they got to play high road all the time over at. It's $100,000 worth.
That's why I could never run.
Got to play high road. Anyway, 9:19 in the morning. There's other things that are worthy of conversation here, and I keep starting this conversation, and I don't know that I've gotten to the end of it just yet. Oh, wait a second. I've got, I hate it when I do this. Sometimes I don't pay any attention to my WhatsApp, and then I look at it and I got 40 messages. Some of these are going to have to wait until I get off the air. Let me see here. Is there anything
I can put
that I need
together
to...
a quick break.
No. I'm just trying to see if... No, I'm not going to put that picture on the internet, Carl. As much as you want me to, I'm not going to do it. No, what I was looking for was a note that I'd gotten earlier from my buddy James, and I think one of the other reasons why I hesitate to bring it up all the time is because based on my own research and conversations that I've had with people that listen to talk radio, there are a small number of people that are interested in the conversation of legalized marijuana.
Yeah.
But there is a huge number of people that are absolutely sick of the conversation and don't want to hear it and will push the button when it happens. So I hesitate to get into this.
Yeah.
Because I know how there are some people that feel about it. But if for no other reason, a cautionary tale. Golly, and I want to say I was having this conversation with a couple of people last night about marijuana. I'm not a medicinal marijuana fan.
Right.
To me, the jury is still out on the efficacy of using marijuana to do anything more than just make you feel sleepy or take the edge off of some of the pain or the anxiety that you might be feeling based on. I can be convinced, but I just tell you right now, I've been through maladies with loved ones and combinations of different kinds of marijuana and different dosages have come up and have been attempted to no net positive effect.
Yeah, generally speaking.
So everybody's different. So I'm just saying it didn't work for me, and so I really don't have any sense of this having any kind of grand relief or providing a great deal of relief to patients. Maybe a lot more so to their families, but I just don't know. Like I said, I might be able to get convinced, but it's not something that I want to invest a lot of time in because it keeps going back to a conversation about medicinal marijuana that, while we've had, is never ever going to come to fruition.
And will not probably ever happen.
So, but up in Saipan, to CNMI, senators up there in their House, in their Senate, have voted on a measure that would provide for virtually unregulated marijuana. Under the adults over 21 years of age would be allowed to grow, possess, and use marijuana. A legal and regulated system of commercial production, processing, and retail sales would be created. See, this is where I think they're screwing it up. Resulting tax revenue would be used to fund implementation of the program and other government services. The bill cleared the Senate, 6 yes votes and 3 abstentions, and it will now go to the House. And if it approves there, it goes to the desk of Party Governor Ralph Torres.
Wow.
I'm saying Party Governor because he's young. He's no, I'm serious. Like, I saw him at a thing, and I was going to ask him to get me a beer and somebody said, "That's the governor." Of where? It's the governor of Saipan. Cow!
Nice.
Really?
Nice.
Got me a beer anyway. The CNMI Senate Committee on Judiciary, Government, and Law recently released a 596-page report on the bill, finding that under prohibition, the absence of marijuana regulations in the Commonwealth allows the existing marijuana black market operators to target persons under 21 years of age with total disregard to safety, health, and the well-being of the youth in the Commonwealth. And the current law prevents the Commonwealth government from imposing licenses, fees, and taxes relative to the production and use of marijuana. They don't yet have a medical cannabis law, meaning that if the bill is enacted, and this is why you're not hearing about this in the news, you're hearing about it on marijuanamoment.net on the World Wide Web, which is where this story comes from. The revenue that may be collected through the license fees and taxations of marijuana can be used to address the many medical and social tribulations affecting our islands, the economy, and our community. The committee wrote the passage of this legislation will also give the Commonwealth residents living abroad who are consuming medical marijuana as an alternative treatment the opportunity to come back to the Commonwealth, be with their family and loved ones without worrying about the lack of legal access to marijuana for medicinal purposes. And then there's a little bit more that goes on to talk about this. Support is strong, and we are hopeful, says Lawrence Dupont-Shield of Sensible CNMI, the advocacy group there. Lawmakers in Guam, another U.S. territory in the Pacific, have also been considering legalization. Oh, really? A marijuana moment, and there's a story that they've got in there about where Governor Eddie Calvo included legalizing the use and sale of recreational marijuana in a list of revenue enhancements. But that is as far, I believe, as the conversation has ever gotten. That's as far as it's gotten in terms of medicinal marijuana or recreational marijuana. And the problem, like I said, that I see with the one that they're going to set up in the CNMI, depending on how they do it, because this is the, I think, the bugaboo that we've got here in terms of what we're doing with ours, a legal and regulated system of commercial production. And I've seen documentaries that talk about all of the steps in commercial production. Right. I mean, everything from this when it sprouts big enough to get a label on it, it gets a label on it, and it will be barcoded right from that moment on to the moment where it leaves the growing place, where it leaves the greenhouse, and then goes out for sale. And even then, it's still trackable. So there's 1,001 checks and balances that go on with these things in some states. Processing and retail sales could be created as a result of this. So in terms of what kind of licenses are going to get set up, in terms of what kind of labs that they're going to need to be able to test these things for, whatever it is that you might want to test for in the recreational world, I just don't know. But if we were to just go and say, Mike, if you've got pots in the back of your house, right, that you can go to Home Depot and get some soil and get some plant food and maybe get some grow lights or something like that, and you wanted to grow and smoke your own marijuana, I think you ought to be able to do it. I think you ought to be able to do it. So now they're going to say, but where's the link on the taxation on that?
Yeah.
And
well,
the
there's got
answer
to
is,
be.
the answer is I don't know. That's not my problem.
Right.
And who says that you cannot? I mean, there might be some other ways that you can sell it and tax. I don't know what those are going to be. I haven't really thought that all the way through.
Yeah, generally speaking, it's handled a lot like liquor. Okay, liquor sales. So you have your suppliers who are licensed to be suppliers to distributors who are also licensed to be distributors. Both of them are taxed according to their licenses, and it's all on the up and up.
Okay, so the only thing that we have to do, in my mind, and this is a point that I think that they refer to here, is currently there's no licensing, there's no taxation, and there's no prohibition of being able to get these guys with licenses not to sell their marijuana to people under the age of 21.
Right.
Okay. Right. So that we got to sort through that. But the other part of it is we've got to make it so that after the guys have got their licenses, that it is cheaper or as inexpensive as the street value.
Right. Well, and it's the laws of supply and demand will dictate that.
Well,
because once the supply, grows because it's legal, your prices are going to go down.
And you know what? If we're not directly taxing the purchase of an ounce of marijuana, and what's an ounce go for?
I don't know.
That's the correct answer. The listeners of this radio station don't want the people that are talking to them knowing what the price of marijuana is.
I can tell you this: I can't afford an ounce.
Okay, well let's say an ounce is $1,000, which may or may not be what it is. Let's say, so rather than the government of Guam asking for a friend, rather than the government of Guam taxing the sale of the $1,000, right? Because that's going to add the cost to it. What they can do is just live with the additional businesses that would be set up.
Yeah.
Because the same way that there are coffee shops all over the place.
That's right.
All of a sudden, you could, with almost no changes, these locations, you could take an underperforming coffee shop and turn it into a marijuana place. Yeah. It's the same. You can have the same people serving you, and you can still have the coffee, and you make a lot more money on your munchie sales and from your grab and goes out in the front. And then you'd have this additional revenue stream with the sales of marijuana.
And the government.
You've got a business now that is hiring people or hiring more people, that is bringing in more revenue, which is then taxable under the business privilege taxes.
That's right. And then, of course, the increased economic power of having more people employed that are out spending their money. For the government, they make money off of the licensing costs for the
exactly for the businesses. What kind of business you got? You in the marijuana cafe business? Yeah. Okay, well, marijuana cafe licenses at a regular cafe license is $250 a year. Okay, you're going to be a marijuana license plate. Okay, you're going to be $500. They're going to charge you double for that because it's marijuana. And so the idea here is that we're not buying our dope anymore from the sleazy guy that lives down the street, not my street, your street. We're not buying dope from him anymore out of the back of his old beat-up car, and we're going to be going someplace nice where there's service and there's mood lighting, and you can control access in and out. We see who's going there. We're doing all of this stuff. It'd be like having a bar.
Exactly, yes.
And so we tax them at that end and just make it part of the transaction. So what do we sell? Marijuana today? Okay, we tax that at 6%. The coffee that you bought is still taxed at 4%. Okay, so we solved that problem. Anything else? What do we got? What do we have to wrestle with now? All right, tell you what, since I've solved that problem for you, we'll work on a couple of things between now and 10 o'clock. 9:30 is iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and, push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy-to-spot, better-for-you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. take it easy.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a Day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
My mom is really great. She's as sweet as she can be. When I need some help, I know she's always there for me. My mom loves me all the time, even when I'm naughty. Thank you for all you do. Hugwai Sahau Mommy.
For the entire month of May, stop by FHP Vision Center for 25% off sunglasses and 30% off lenses with ophthalmic frames. Receive an entry form to win a Coach Clutch pouch when you buy any Coach eyewear. Conditions apply. Happy Mother's Day, Guahan, from your friends at FHP.
Now you can choose your favorite Nissan rides and 30 flyaways on Philippine Airlines when you play Micronesia Mall's Your Best Choice giveaway. To play, present mall receipts to win a new Versa Note SR, the Crossover Rogue Sport SV, the Heritage Edition 370Z, or you can choose a tough Nissan truck. Plus, there are great instant prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker. Win more cars, trips, and prizes when you play Micronesia Mall's Your Best Choice giveaway.
The drawing for the Nissan 350Z is Saturday at 2 p.m. You must be present to win.
You know, when I decided to go back on the air, I thought, you know, the last thing I want to do is political gossip, and I've had to reverse position on that significantly in the last 75 or so days. You know, kind of wanted to concentrate on conversations about business and conversations about commerce and trade and some of the other things that affect us. But you know, the political gossip just keeps bringing me back, as Pacino said in the movie. From the listeners and a very informed bunch of listeners here, Ed Karen / Karen Untalan says the big issue that still needs to get considered is that marijuana is considered an illegal substance in the eyes of the federal government. So you won't be able to use credit cards in these transactions. It'll all need to be cash. FDI-insured banks will not accept those deposits from anyone or any business. So with all of these cash transactions, the concern is that there's a big potential for money laundering. There's also a big potential in the security business to make sure that these, you know, marijuana cafes kind of completely changes out the meaning behind infusion, right? Think about that. But as I say, these businesses now, with their mostly cash transactions, would be on the lookout for some kind of security. Matt Phillips, marijuana makes up 2% of Colorado's GDP. I suspect it will make up a higher percentage of Guam's gross domestic product. And you're probably right. They and I asked the question, how is the money issue being handled in Colorado and California? Because they have been in this game where they've medicinal marijuana or unregulated use of marijuana or decriminalized use of marijuana. So how does that work there? How do they, I mean, I can't imagine that there's money laundering going on a massive scale there. What are they doing with their money? How are they making their money safe? How are they making it so that their money also has a secondary use? I mean, that's one of the reasons why we have banks. Banks collect the money, hold the money for us, and pay me a little bit of interest, and then we'll loan out those dollars to other people in the community to make their dreams come true and make a few dollars on interest on that. So how do we get the secondary, tertiary best use of the dollar out of those markets? And Ed says, I'm not sure how they deal with that. I believe a lot of the businesses may have vaults, may have someplace. But didn't you watch Breaking Bad? Eventually you run out of places to put the money.
You know, I think in the banking industry, and somebody who's in it can tell me, and I could very well be wrong, which it's usually never good to go on the radio and be wrong, but depending on the entity that regulates the banks, for instance, in some...
hold on, Daryl, I want you to call in on that point.
Yeah, because I grew up in Texas, and you'd have like a state bank. So it was governed really by the state regulators, whereas other banks like Bank of America, the bigger ones, they were more federally regulated. All of them covered by FDIC, but it's a different arrangement. Again, I could be way off base with that, but that may be how they're doing it in Colorado and California.
Mark Cruz suggests convert all of the cash into Bitcoin. You remind me of a recent visit by Dennis Rodman. Do you remember when he came out here?
That's right. He's got Potcoin.
Potcoin, and that was the idea.
Yeah.
Was that there would be this mechanism then to take the cash and convert that to Bitcoin. But I don't know enough about. I don't know, how do you take cash and turn it into Bitcoin? I mean, you got to send it somewhere, right? It's got to go through a channel at some point. I won't read Daryl's comments that are on the screen right now because it's possible that Daryl may call in, and it is him on one. Okay, let me just grab this. So, Daryl, what are your thoughts on this? You're a good policy guy.
Well, I just think that it's hypocritical for government leaders. It's okay to talk about it on talk radio, but for government leaders to say that it's criminal to possess, sell, use marijuana, and then turn around and say, no, it's okay as long as we get our cut. And even better if it's big business that grows it on a big farm that we give land for, and so we can control the revenues from it, and then it becomes something that could be vended through businesses that are licensed through our Department of Public Health or Rev and Tax. I mean, what a hypocritical stance if any government official were to take that stance.
So basically, I hear what you're saying. It's like imposing a sin tax on something that you've got a vertical monopoly on. Hello? Well, I had you, and then I don't have you.
Yeah, somehow it just went poof. He'll call back, though. But I think I see what he's saying. It's almost like, how some people will, those that you look up to will say, don't do as I say, don't do as I say, do as I say, not as I do.
Yes,
Yeah.
but in the point that he's trying to say here, and he'll get back, the point that he's trying to make is that the government is going to wet its beak at every step of the way. So, and in my mind, that was the problem with the medicinal marijuana one. Was we start off with the growers and the incredible amount of money that the growers were going to have to pay for the privilege of growing marijuana. And then you've got the secondary function of, well, since it's medicinal, we're going to have a lab. So somebody's got to put together a lab, and there are going to be fees that the lab charges in order to gauge the efficacy or the effectiveness or controlled dosages of the THC based on the varietal of weed that is growing at that particular time. So there's going to be more money coming in from into the government as a result of that. And then even the places that are going to be selling the marijuana, Ray Gibson's Dope Cafe is going, and all we're going to sell marijuana and coffee and soda pop and grilled cheese sandwiches.
Ray's Dope Den.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. But they will charge me for that. So I think that's the point that Daryl is trying to make here, is the disingenuous nature of it, is we're saying we've got something that's really bad for you, but we're going to legalize it. We'll look the other way because you're going to be paying us every step of the way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think it should be like tuba. If I want to make tuba in my yard, and I want to take the gallon down to the Wednesday evening market and sell it, then as long as I'm not selling it to minors, I mean, really.
I'm okay. Listen, I don't have a problem with that. But I think we ought to be able to expand from there. I mean, if I wanted to also sell tuba at Ray's Dope Den, I should be able to do that there as well. And so as we create this new sector of the economy, where I'm not paying too much more in taxes for the privilege of doing business that also involves selling marijuana and tuba and cheeseburgers and grilled cheese sandwiches, and I'm hiring people and I'm paying insurance and I'm doing all of these things that good businesses do. I think the entire community benefits as a result.
So, we have laws to protect minors. So why do we have laws that are going to funnel commerce of things that are admittedly harmful, but have them funneled make them okay as long as they're funneled through the government. It's just, it goes the wrong way. We say, okay, as long as we're going to raise sin taxes on it, we'll allow it. And I just think it's wrong. It's morally wrong to take that position. We have enough problems with the social and health effects of alcohol and smoking, and the solution is to raise the taxes, and it doesn't come anywhere close to paying the social and health costs of those two. And so, we need to really look at our laws and rationalize them for what we know today, and not simply ride on what was decided 100 years ago.
Okay. Well, we'll continue the conversation, I suppose, in light of what I think is a smart move that they're doing up in the NMI. And if they are capable of putting together that mechanism, whether it is morally reprehensible or not, it is going to catch some kind of attention, and it might be a boost for tourism. There are tourism options that we're looking at that we never had really considered in the past. Look at the blossoming of the Korean market. You remember when back in the old days, people fought diversification. They did not want. They wanted us to concentrate solely on the Japanese, and then other entrepreneurs started saying, and I knew these guys started doing more business and being attractive to the Korean markets, and they have leapfrogged one over the other in terms of the impact that they have on this community and hospitality. They're talking about going after the LGBT crowd, and turning that into an opportunity for us. And I imagine if we did it right and we came up with some interesting names and varietals of marijuana strains, we might be able to get some notoriety among Asians that want to be able to smoke marijuana but can't under pain of death in their own country.
Yes, absolutely. We would also be able to address the medical marijuana situation at the same time. It's not decriminalized. Why do you need a lab?
Exactly. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? The growers. What do you need? The licensed labs and the licensed outlets.
And a prescription.
See, this is where we're going to get in trouble, because now we're getting into the government's pocket, and that's probably among the reasons why they haven't moved forward on it. It reminds me of the bill that Regine Lee has on the plastic bags. We all agreed that we want to get rid of plastic bags, and what this bill does is it sets up an entire government bureaucracy to watch over the destruction of the plastic bag industry on Guam for the next 5 years. The easy answer is, on January 1st, there's the law: no more plastic bags.
And you say you can't import them. It's something that customs will say, okay, I see it in your bill of lading.
Got to turn it around.
Confiscate it.
Send it back. Yeah, confiscate it or turn it around, one way or the other. So I hear what you're saying. Smaller government is better, and there's no need to set up an entire government of Guam to control something as simple as something that you can grow in your backyard, share with your friends if you want to, and if you make enough of it, sell it at your store. Just don't dig into my menu with the cheeseburgers and the grilled cheese sandwiches. It's mine.
And we need to solve problems. We don't need to be building silos around them.
Yeah.
To address. We have to start solving problems and not just, making it an industry, government as an industry.
Well, you and I agree on that point, and I think that's where I'm going to leave the conversation. You have a terrific. I'll see you pretty soon, Daryl.
Yep.
Always a delight talking with you. Even more so when you agree with me. That's important. A couple of notes before I take the last break of the program. I want to offer my congratulations. I meant to do this earlier, but you know how I am. The Guam Contractors Association has got themselves a new board, and they held a swearing-in ceremony for the board. So let me wish congratulations to Vice Chair Jessica Barrett. That's from Barrett Plumbing. That's the guys I use all the time. Past Chairwoman Chit Button, Mark Cruz, who's a frequent listener and contributor to the program. There's Camilo Lorenzo, nice. Secretary-Treasurer Peter Errett, Jeff Larson, half a dude, Harold Koltick, John Sage, and Joey Roberto. all the way in the back there. Is that, no, it's not. Dave Castro is not. Dave Castro is not a member of the Guam Contractors Association. He's the guy that took the picture. But congratulations to all of you guys. Vital work that needs to get done, and a strong Contractors Association to oversee some of that. You know, without a strong Contractors Association, we'd probably still be having problems getting H2 guys into the building. Oh, an article that I can read later from Pew Trust. Marijuana businesses still can't get bank accounts. Why they still can't get bank accounts. All right, I'll take a look at that. Now, you mentioned, Ed, FDIC businesses that might not be able to take these deposits. What about non-FDIC?
We'll see, and that's the thing. You know, that's really a marketing tool for the banks because it guarantees the deposits of customers.
Yeah.
I don't even know of any banks that are not FDIC insured, although there could be some credit unions that are not.
Well, I don't know about credit unions, but I know that there's a couple of finance companies that we have here on Guam. And, that was always the deal. I used to like borrowing from them because they almost never said no, but the interest rates are way up there, right?
24%.
And you go, okay, well, I'll give you some of my money. I'll open up the accounts here, and their interest rates on those were generally a little bit better. But the caveat was it doesn't say FDIC on the sticker on the window. You might have noticed that. So you may deposit them with us. We may use these. How do you want to say this? We may use these dollars to invest.
That's right.
In other things that we're going to be doing here, but it's possible that we might lose.
That's right.
On this investment.
Your money is not insured.
All right, Jimmy Servino's writing me something, so I want to make sure that I get a chance to see it. No longer new optional fee program on the bill, so they amended it since then. Okay, so what is it now? The optional fee program, they reported out the bill without the optional fee program and institutes a ban in 2 years. How about 2 years? Why? What's Todd Dick? Just do it next month, in January of 2019. All right, I'll take a look at the amended version. I did not realize that they had done that because, frankly, I had not seen that in any of the pressers that had gone out for it. 9:48.
Hey, I'm already working on your ad, man.
For Ray's Dope Den?
Yeah. Ray's Dope Den, where our customers never say,
I ain't high, I'll tell you that, man. I don't feel nothing, man.
They never say that. They always come out happy.
Yes, it could work. What kind of music would we put behind that?
Oh, I got some good stuff.
What is it, like stingy, like stanky reggae?
70s porn
70
stuff.
porn stuff?
Yeah.
I might have some of that.
Oh.
But I was thinking, some Yaman Jamaican.
We'll just make
that would work behind it.
We'll make a wide variety of spots
as well.
Cater to every person.
It's 9:48.
That's what we do.
One of us better take a break.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
From September 17 to September 19, 2018, the Archdiocese of Agana will be conducting settlement conferences with victims of clergy abuse. If you have a claim and want to meaningfully participate in the September settlement conferences, call Hope and Healing Guam at 1-888-649-5288 before August 1st, 2018. All conversations with Hope and Healing Guam are confidential. If you have filed a lawsuit against the Archdiocese, you are already included in this settlement process.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you. if they amended it, they made it big, or maybe my internet's slow. 185 pages worth of the document and the committee report on the Regine Lee carry-out bags, yada, 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 banning single-use carry-out bags. Okay, I'll take a look at and print this out so I've got a better understanding. Apparently there has been a change, and they've taken out the part where we set up some more big government as an opportunity for... I don't know.
Just not necessary.
More junk for the guys over at Rev and Tax. Okay. Jimmy, I appreciate you saying that over. And it's interesting that we end the break with an ad for American President lines. Kevin Kerrigan, you know, even after he's left, he's still thinking about the radio show. Sent me a story from the Los Angeles Times, and I love this story. I want to hug this story. Carnival, as in Carnival Cruise Lines, is expanding its itineraries by including Pacific crossings towards Asia. You can now make history on a new Carnival Cruise Line voyage from Long Beach to Singapore. I'm in.
Wow, that's got to be about a 9-day trip.
It's long. 24-day trans-Pacific crossing aboard Carnival Splendor will be the longest single departure in Carnival Cruise Line's history and will mark the first time the line will visit Guam, Vietnam, Malaysia on a voyage from North America. The 2019 sailing, announced Tuesday, as part of an effort by Carnival to expand its itineraries. 2 other longer-length sailings called Carnival Journeys were also announced. Both involve the port of Long Beach and will take place next year. The other sailings are aboard Carnival Miracle, a 14-day Hawaii cruise, round-trip Long Beach, and then there's a 13-day Panama Canal transit from Tampa, Florida to Long Beach.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Passengers sailing on Carnival Journeys cruises can participate in an expanded variety of onboard activities, sampling local cuisine, entertainment, cultural opportunities at various ports of call, the cruise line said. Activities may also include photography, cooking, arts and crafts, and celestial navigation, along with a 1980s-themed Throwback Sea Day. The Southeast Asia sailing aboard the 3,012-passenger Splendor is set to depart October the 5th of 2019. Make the reservations now from Long Beach. It'll arrive in Singapore on October 30th, slated to include extended port calls at Maui and Honolulu before crossing the international date line, then move on to Guam. Kota Kinabalu in Malaysia, and Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Rates start at only $1,659 a person for double occupancy accommodations.
Wow. That's actually a pretty good price.
That's actually a pretty good
that.
price. Yeah. Now, I was on a cruise, did the Alaskan cruise last year.
Nice.
No, it was. The worst part of it was getting out of the Sound, because it took off from Port Angeles. No, from SeaTac. And then you leave the Sound, and then you go up north, obviously, because that's where they put Alaska and the glaciers and the whales. They're all north of that. And coming out of there, the seas were unusually rough.
Yeah, well, that's at North Pacific. Yeah.
So I'm okay. Cast iron constitution. Nothing bothers me. I don't get motion sickness at all. But there were people that did have a hard time making their way through it. But still, in all, the problem that I had was that you. How do I put this? The booze was expensive.
Oh, yeah, that's a downer.
Because they set you up here. Because the second you get on the ship, you can start gambling, and the second you get on the ship, you can start doing trivia challenges in the bars and watch ice skating, and there's 5 or 6 different restaurants that you can start going to right now. And you say, this would be great. This free cheeseburger that I'm paying $1,600 a head for whatever the length of the trip is, this would be great if I could down it with a cold beer. And they'll be happy to give you a cold beer for something in order of about $6 or $7 each time. Wow. Now, this is the shipping industry, and there are packages that you can buy. And they've figured it out. And it's kind of a all-you-can-drink package. But for the price that they wanted to charge me, I would have had to have drank something like 15 beers a day.
You can do that. Easily do that.
I know. I don't want to brag. but you would need to drink, and again, they're about $6 or $7 a piece. So you do the multiplication, and pretty soon it was like a car payment's worth of beer that I would be drinking, and I couldn't justify that. So I'd hang out with people that would buy me drinks the entire time I was on board. But the idea that they would be coming to Guam now, I make this prediction. That on October, when did I say it was scheduled for? They're going to be stopping in Hawaii on October, they're going to leave on the 5th, and then it's going to be about a 2-week trip out here. So about a week after, my guess is that when they get to Guam, we will still not have a plan on how to receive these 3,000 guests. And what it's going to take to, because you always do some resupply at these ports. So I'm wondering how that's going to how that's going to play. There used to be a place called Hotel Wharf where these big ships would pull into from time to time. But I don't know to what degree they'd be ready for something as big as a Carnival Cruise Line ship, and what it would take to effectively get these people off the ship. Transportation to Tumon, transportation to GPO, again, your shopping center, whatever.
Yeah, in Kona, they actually have a Carnival Cruise Line that comes through there once a week. And how they do it is they have their lifeboats. So they disembark by way of lifeboat to the smaller port. Wow, it's thundering out there. To the smaller port docks, and then they get off there, and they know they have to be back by 3 o'clock because the ship will promptly leave at about 5:30. And of course, then once they get into town, Kona, not like Guam, although it could be. When you get, it's kind of close knit, so they don't really need to take a taxi or something to go somewhere.
Yeah, but so we don't have that here.
Here
so
we're different,
for us, it'd be they'd pull into someplace over at the port, and the problem is the port is set up to be a commercial port, not necessarily something that is set up for this kind of business. They've had the conversation for years, but they've never actually taken the step to say this is how we're going to receive them. Frankly, I think the best place to get them would be at the edge of Paseo.
I was about to say, build an actual dock there for those small boats, and it does not have to be a big dock. Well, you make it for a big
boat too. There's no reason why you couldn't, and so that way the people could disembark, get off the boat there, walk. I don't know what it is 200 yards from there to the shore, and then it's another 2 minutes to the Chamorro Village. And then you got Proa down the street, you got the museum over here, and then we don't have to worry so much about transportation. They might not always be able to get into Tumon, but they'd certainly be able to avail themselves of the services that are available in the downtown, in the capital city. 9:58 and change, yes, that is thunder and lightning that we are treated to about now.
Radar is showing a pretty heavy shower right over the airport and over the east side of the island now, down to about Pago Bay and moving south, so...
All right. Well, be very, very careful as you're driving around. Obviously, there's some of you that might have forgotten how to drive in the rain and in the particularly heavy rain that we have got here today. Hey, listen, would you believe it? It's almost 10 o'clock in the morning. And what have we got to talk about here between now and then? Absolutely nothing. There's a few other topics that I thought I was going to be able to get myself into today, but we're going to save them for the Friday show. I've got a pretty full day ahead of me. And among the things that I get to do that I am absolutely delighted to be a part of is help United Airlines celebrate 50 years on Guam. Now, they recognize the fact that they haven't been here as United Airlines for 50 years, but they have been here for a long time as Continental and as Air Mike, and there's going to be an homage to the people and the destinations and the crafts that have made 50 years of the hospitality industry and the airline industry here on Guam that much more fun and exciting. And there's always a conversation about United one way or the other, isn't there? Anyway, I get to do that, and I'll let you know how the party was tomorrow when I get back on the radio about 6 o'clock. The radio station is KUSG Haggadah. We are The Point. Coming up, I got Brian Kilmeade, Rush Limbaugh, or a substitute a little bit later on today, and then we've got the other fellow, Sean Hannity, going to be on a little bit later on in the afternoon. Some exciting talk radio programming that you can only get here on The Point. It ain't just the Ray Gibson Show. There's much more good discussion on the way. Fox News Live, though, right now.
Calling for it to end. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump's attorney, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, calling for special counsel Robert Mueller to end his investigation into allegations of collusion between the Russians and the Trump campaign.
We should do it today. I mean, as soon as possible. I think that they have the facts from which they can write their report. If you're going to write a fair report, fine, write it. If you're going to write an unfair report, write it, and we will combat it. We're ready to rip it apart.
Giuliani appears on Fox's The Ingram Angle with Laura Ingram later tonight. He also says there will be no indictment against President Trump because Mueller needs to follow Department of Justice protocol that a sitting president cannot be indicted. A footnote from the president's just-released financial disclosure in the spotlight.
In his annual disclosure of personal finances, President Trump acknowledged that he paid his personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, between $100,000 and $250,000 last year. Cohen and the president's defense attorney, Rudy Giuliani, have both said some of that money was to reimburse Cohen for a $130,000 settlement with porn star Stormy Daniels, who said she had an affair with President Trump. The president's total income for 2017 was at least $594 million. The president also disclosed at least $311 million in debt to 9 creditors, including Merrill Lynch and Deutsche Bank of Germany.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. The president hosting a roundtable discussion this afternoon at the White House to talk about California's sanctuary city law.
We're moving them out of this country by the thousands. MS-13, we're grabbing them by the thousands, and we're getting them out.
Supporters say the law is needed to help protect witnesses and fight crime. A federal grand jury indicting the president and CEO of Bumblebee Foods for participating in a conspiracy to fix prices for packaged seafood. Fox News, fair and balanced.